What's up? Welcome back in to the Hook and Batter podcast, episode 7. I'm super excited because I have 5 sports to talk about today, which is a big switch up. And I think we have to start with the sport that's actually not in season.
Preseason hockey.
Sound off in the comments. Just kidding. Because it's very topical as we record here on Wednesday. And a big blockbuster trade just went down with Damian Lillard going to the Milwaukee Bucks to join forces with Giannis. I saw the updated odds. The Bucks are now the favorite to win the NBA at like plus 375 or so. Drew Holiday goes to the Blazers, and Phoenix got in on it to ship DeAndre Ayton up to Portland. I think they hate him, which makes sense. So you're a big Blazers guy, Andrew.
Big Blazers guy.
So I'll let you lead off with the takes here.
See, when I heard this news, I was not like the Bucks are now the superstar team. I was like, the Blazers, watch out. Are you kidding me? Think about the starting lineup, okay? I'm blanking here. Okay, we got Drew Holiday. We got Anthony Simons.
Sure.
Shaedon Sharpe.
Okay.
Shaedon Sharpe? Shaedon Sharpe? Yeah, Shaedon Sharpe. He's good.
Yeah. Okay.
The superstar Jeremy Grant, and then DeAndre Ayton. Like, that's a really solid starting five.
I have 2 things for you. One, is DeAndre Ayton better than Jusuf Nurkic?
No.
Yeah.
I think the Suns actually got out pretty good on this trade.
No one on that team that I just said can play any defense.
Yeah.
Drew Holiday, sorry. Whoa.
Yeah, I was about to say, man, defensive player of the year.
Very offensive. And that's my problem with the Bucks getting rid of him. But
well, would you like to know that the Trailblazers are already shopping Drew Holiday?
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Because they also picked up 2 first-round picks, I think.
Like
really late.
28, and then, a pick
30.
swap in 28 and 30, and a true unconditional in 29.
Which, why does the NBA do that?
I have no idea.
They're the only league that does it that far in advance.
It's crazy.
I don't know.
But either way, my hot take for this is the Blazers are going to make the playoffs. Almost a lock for next year. As long as all those players stay around. If they shop Drew Holiday, that's different. But I love Drew Holiday. I'm surprised the Bucks got rid of him. I think he was one of the backbones for that team. And I get that you're getting Lillard, but that's a big trade in my opinion.
It is. And my take is that I'm a big fan of like building teams not around names, which like I know the NBA does a lot. But for me, Lillard makes sense because the Bucks are already so strong defensively, and I know Drew is a big part of that. But the Bucks are so strong defensively. You get a little bit of a better career 3-point percentage with Dame Lillard over Drew Holiday, so it opens up the floor a lot more for Giannis to attack. And as long as Lillard is okay with playing off ball a lot and hitting open shots and facilitating a little bit more, I think it's going to work a lot better than say Kyrie and Luka did.
I will say the one thing about Drew that I didn't like, I've never seen him hit a big shot.
Yeah.
And then when it comes down to the game, when there's like 1-2 score games, it's kind of going to Giannis. And then if it does go to Drew, he was bricking a lot. I think I saw Grayson Allen hit more big shots than he did.
Who was part of the steal as well. I can't remember. I think he ended up
the
Phoenix.
Suns. Yep, he went to the Suns.
So they lose some role players as well. It makes sense for the Bucks to me. Like, I was surprised to see that they did it, but I think it makes a lot of sense.
Good.
I liked it. I thought it was a really good addition. And it really comes down to if Damian Lillard is okay with taking a step back and being the second guy, because it's gonna be Giannis. It has to be Giannis. And I don't think it's going to be a 1A, 1B situation where they're trading off buckets like every possession. Like, he'll have to take a step back, be the number 2, and be cool with, like you said, facilitating the offense and not, playing. I think his style of play is going to adjust this year. It's going to have to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not going to be successful.
To his point earlier, a Luka Kyrie type thing, there's not going to be a set 1-2. Yeah. It'll be a lot of switch offs for possessions. Which can work. It should work since they're obviously 2 completely different players.
Right, yeah, and that's also something I think definitely helps them too. Is like they can both do it, they're both so different that they can blend together. If that makes any sense. Like their games are so different.
I also think it might help, just as I'm thinking through it even more. I mean, Giannis plays so much that they can do almost like a Warriors thing where they split up Steph and Clay sometimes so they always have like a dominant guy on the floor and not lose that much. So maybe you take some minutes, some stress off of Giannis. And I'm not a proponent of load management, but maybe he can sit a game or 2 down the stretch and you can be okay with Lillard running the offense and probably still win most of the games. So it'll be interesting, especially early on, but I think as we've seen, the NBA, it just doesn't matter what happens in October, November, December. So once they get to March and April, I think they'll be gelling. And I think it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, it's really bold for the Bucks to do this too. I mean, they bounced out in the first round, which is crazy, but they were the 1 seed. Yeah. They were at one point a perennial title contender.
They fired Budenholzer as well.
I think they did.
I think they did.
They did.
Yeah.
I don't know who their coach is though. I'm not gonna lie.
I can't remember if Giannis ever got an extension. I could be saying this and he signed the biggest deal of the offseason or something. So if one of you guys wants to look that up, that'd be great. But last time I remember, Giannis wanted out.
I think he was still hinting at getting out.
Yeah. So this seems like a save for the franchise in general.
Yeah.
Because if this didn't happen, I think Giannis was leaving in a few years and it was going to be over.
And I would imagine that Giannis had a say in if they were going to make a big trade, like who do you want to go get?
Yeah,
yeah.
He might have said they need to do something
right.
like this.
Yeah, because they're in their window, right? I mean, he's great. Adrian Griffin is their head coach, assistant with the Raptors for the past 5 years.
Sure,
but like new this year.
Yeah, they got rid of Budenholzer, which is weird to me.
I thought he was a great coach, but it is tough to defend losing to an 8 seed or whatever the seed was after the play-in tournament for an NBA team.
That sounds like it's going to be a player-run team to me.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, which I don't know. We'll see. Maybe that's not a good thing, because we've seen these super. I mean, I feel like when it comes to in the NBA with these super teams, it just comes down to what the dynamic is going to be between those players and whose ego is going to I mean, you saw it with LeBron and Wade. Wade had to take a step back and realize, okay, LeBron's great. I need to facilitate and be the secondary option, which is not a bad thing.
No.
That's not I think Damian Lillard is ready for that. I think he's at the point in his career where he just wants to win games and do great things.
And I mean, he's a bona fide closer. He has multiple buzzer beating, series winning shots. So you see coming down the stretch, it's just Giannis trying to bulldoze people over. And if the team they're playing has the right defense for it that day, I know you can't stop it all the time, but in the game 7, he's shooting 3 for 14. At least now they have the other hey, this guy can just go ISO and he can go get buckets. So I think that it'll help a ton.
Yeah,
but
it's exciting.
Yeah, I mean NBA trying to take over a little bit of the sports calendar, but
it always happens.
Yeah, there's always
usually
one.
James Harden. But
I'm surprised he didn't wiggle his way into a deal.
He
here.
will. Give him a few days.
Yeah, he's still eating his way out. But let's talk about some sports that are in season. College football. Saturday was awesome.
Yeah,
as we sort of projected, obviously with all the ranked matchups. It was a lot of fun to watch. There was games going on at all times of the day, which was great. I'm going to lump the two losers together here. What were Notre Dame and Clemson doing at the end of the game?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. It's interesting that you yes, Notre Dame I think definitely blew that game, which is really unfortunate. But I was actually in a weird way kind of impressed with them.
Sure.
I still think that there is I think the way they played justifies if they win out, I think they're in the college football playoff.
I would agree because they still have at Duke this week, which is a massive game.
Yeah,
and they still get USC, right? So they still have plenty of opportunity to prove that they can belong.
But yeah, man, I mean, letting up that 4th down play was just insane. I could not believe they converted that. And just that whole drive, I mean, was I don't know.
And obviously playing with 10 the last 2 plays is a really
that's
bad
insane.
look.
Gosh.
Especially
when trying to stuff the run.
Yeah. That's tough. But I go back to their offensive possession, and they throw a screen pass that almost gets intercepted first, but falls incomplete. Ohio State probably uses a timeout, but then they're out of timeouts if they use it, or they let 40 seconds go off the clock. That was a big mistake, and I know you expect the screen to get completed, and I know you don't want to roll over, but at that point in the game, it's man, take as much time off the clock, and you were running the ball well. So it was just if you can squeeze out a first down, great. If not, punt it away and leave Ohio State with as little time as possible, as few timeouts as possible. But
I don't know. It looked like they were pulling away in that game. It was really.
It looked like it was theirs.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed that game. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. I thought that was a really good game.
No, it felt like a playoff game.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
It was a lot of fun, and even though it was pretty defensive for the first part of it, I was impressed by Notre Dame's defense.
Yeah,
I think
for sure.
I think Ohio State's quarterback has a ways to go, especially against pressure.
Yeah,
but I hope Marvin Harrison Jr. is okay.
Yeah,
I know he kept playing, but that would
scary.
be a big loss for them, obviously. But credit to him. Unlike his predecessors at Ohio State, he did keep playing. I think Jackson Smith and Jigba missed 3 months with like a toenail last year. So I give credit to him. I think Ohio State will keep getting better and better, but I agree with you. I think Notre Dame is not dead, and Duke might be on the wrong end of the train tracks this week.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, it's a rough week to be Duke. Ohio State. I mean, I don't know. It's really counterintuitive, but I almost feel like Ohio State, because they're in the Big Ten, like I almost fear for them a little bit. Like if that's the way they play against Michigan, I think they're going to lose to Michigan.
And I did have that same takeaway because that is pretty much to a T exactly how Michigan's going to play them.
Yeah.
So that they could definitely be in trouble again.
Yeah.
Ryan Day is a bona fide loser.
Yeah, that was weird. That was
Lou
weird.
Holtz is 86.
And isn't he a lifelong Notre Dame lever?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I just that was weird, but whatever.
I understand, coaches.
Whatever gets your
your
team hyped up. You're
college coaches do that all the time. I get it, but it was like he planned it, which I just
I think he did. Yeah, that's I got the same feeling too. I'm like, okay, this is so forced.
Yeah,
like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I never that guy. He's not the right guy, but I digress. Clemson, on the other hand, obviously they had a financial advisor as their kicker. So you expect to make the 29-yarder. I understand they should have won the game. That was also theirs to win. But coming down the stretch in overtime, right? Florida State scores quickly. 3rd and 1, and I know the announcers were saying, they give Klubnik, the ability to read what's happening at the line of scrimmage, but he throws the screen as well that gets blown up. That just. You can't, as a coaching staff, I know Klubnik's like very good and obviously a 5-star recruit, but he's pretty much starting in his first season this year. You can't even give him the ability to do that in that situation, in my opinion. You got to hand the ball off, get the first down, and then figure it out from there. Like, you're probably not scoring off the screenplay, so what's really the point of doing it?
Yeah, that's a case of it getting too cute.
Yeah.
I've always been, I mean, they wouldn't have, obviously, but 3rd and 1, it's almost like you have 2 plays to get the first down, like 1 yard, and I think you always go for it. Like, I've always been a proponent of that, so I don't understand why you would get cute there.
Also, in this scenario, when they expect you to go for the 1 yard, it's like do a run up the middle. They're bringing people,
right?
That's
so
true.
They're gonna blow up the screen.
Right, the screen isn't gonna really work. If you want to, if you wanted to get like really cute and maybe fake screen fade or like something crazy,
fade, go deep. That's That's what I would definitely do
to catch them off guard,
and that's good on 3rd and 1.
Right,
I'm always a fan of
because
that.
you expect to be able to pick up a yard on 4th down,
right?
But on the other hand, just line up behind the quarterback and go QB sneak
right?
Twice.
Yeah, I don't
because you have to go score. Like, you have to get this first down. I just, like you said, it's just getting too cute. And I know it was probably a called run that Klubnik 9 times out of 10 has the ability to change to a quick throw, but in that situation, you gotta be smarter. And that I felt like both of those teams, Notre Dame and Clemson, had the games won pretty much, and they really blew an opportunity. Clemson obviously now dead for the college football playoff with 2 losses. Happy for Florida State. I do enjoy watching them play. That game got really fun for a minute as they started going back and forth. Also started pretty defensive, but to be expected with 2 big teams in the ACC. But they're a fun watch. Jordan Travis is fun. The dude Keon is awesome. I can't believe Michigan State let him go, but he looks unreal. So happy Florida State. I mean, they're going to be favored in every game down the stretch.
Yeah, they should. I mean, for them, it's like no excuse. It would be on them to not make the college football playoff. Did they get Duke? I think they get Duke.
I'm sure.
I think
do.
they Duke and UNC. They get them both.
I'm not. And maybe Miami. I do think Miami's decent.
Miami is coming back. Yeah, I mean, Cristobal. He's not a terrible head coach. So you could definitely sneak.
So what if they lose one of those?
ACC's tough because yes, Duke is ranked right now, but they're probably going to end the season with like 4 losses, maybe 9-3, something like that. So they probably won't be ranked at least maybe like 25 or so.
Yeah.
So if they lose to them, it's an okay loss, but it's not great, depending on where it is.
Yeah, right. And it also depends where everyone else is. So I kind of think the Pac-12 will eat each other alive.
I do too, but I hope not.
Yeah, I hope not either. It'd be cool. And then there's like Texas. Does Texas get in? I'm still banking on 2 SEC teams getting in just because that's just the way it's been.
Yeah.
So then you got 2 from other 2 conferences. So I guess it depends. I mean,
I would challenge that. I don't think if Bama has to show a lot more than they have.
Yeah.
That game was very ugly against Ole Miss.
Yes, that's true. I don't think they're a top 4 team. I just think name alone will get them in.
Maybe
if they win out and Georgia wins out.
I had to look back at Bama's result. It's crazy to me that they're 3-1. They seem really bad.
I know they seem really bad.
They seem like a 2-2, 1-3.
Well, besides Texas, I know Ole Miss is decent, but they just haven't really played anybody.
Yeah.
And that just might be the way it is in the SEC this year because there's not a ton of great teams.
Yeah. And maybe that'll catch up to them.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll knock them.
It definitely could.
It could. Yeah.
Like from watching Auburn this weekend, like I assume they play Bama, right?
Every year.
Every year.
Yeah.
Iron Bowl.
Like I think they'll actually beat Alabama. I like the way Auburn looked.
Auburn looked horrible.
I think their defense gives what they need to against the bad quarterbacks for Alabama.
Potentially. They have no offense. They can't.
I know.
And I had Texas A&M in that game, so I watched a lot of it. It's Max Johnson time in Texas A&M, which I don't know. I think Colin Wyman's kind of hurt.
Kind of unfair for Auburn, They didn't plan for Max Johnson
for a lefty quarterback that flamed out LSU in one of their worst years ever. It's unfortunate. I think A&M is actually pretty solid. I hope Wyman's okay, but I don't know that Max Johnson's gonna do great for them.
I was proud of him.
Hey, he showed up in the first couple drives, but I thought Auburn looked really bad. But Ole Miss gets LSU this week. LSU is very confusing because they barely squeezed by Arkansas this week.
Yeah,
at home. So LSU is just kind of Jekyll and Hyde. I don't really know if they're any good, but I think they go down to Oxford to go down to Ole Miss. So that's a big game for both teams. Ole Miss got to get off the mat. LSU's got to prove something that that loss to Florida State was more of a fluke than not. But
these teams, it seems like the race for the third best team in the ACC.
Yeah,
and I'd like to see. I mean, if Ole Miss wins this game, because Ole Miss looked terrible against Alabama,
right?
I'm not buying them. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
If they beat LSU, I think then it's safe to say like the SEC is not very good. This year. Because I'm not buying Tennessee. I don't think Tennessee is very good.
No, I don't think so either.
And
they have limitations,
and that would be nice. I'd appreciate a good year where the SEC is not very good.
I agree, because there's way other more fun storylines, which we'll get to right now. Pac-12 is still on fire. Obviously, the big one, Oregon boat races Colorado. I think the trash talk finally caught up to Colorado a little bit. It takes a few years to build a program.
Yeah,
like in their defense, in Deion's defense, like I think if you asked him and gave him truth serum, he was probably like, "Yeah, we're probably gonna lose by 30 to like going to Oregon."
Yeah.
But I guess the players didn't feel that way because they were talking like they were really gonna do it, and that maybe that's how they get hyped up. But Oregon took it personal, to steal a Colorado saying, and fake punt from their own 10-yard line.
That was wild.
So I mean, they just never gave him a chance to breathe.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it was like 30-0.
Yeah. Hard to take too much away from this game. I mean, we all kind of knew that Colorado was. I don't want to say in over their heads because they did some great things, and they're going to continue to do some great things. But I didn't think they were. I never thought they were like a top Pac-12 team. No. But. Like on Oregon side, they win, but we kind of expected them to win. You know? So I just think it was just a reality check, like you said, for Colorado. And
I completely agree.
Still wishing them the best. I think they've got a bright future ahead for sure, and they can still steal some games. Like when they play, I think when they play Utah, that'd be a good matchup for them.
Oh, I think this week is a good matchup for them. They get USC at home. And USC's defense obviously not very good.
Yeah,
the big problem they had was, especially early in the game, was they just couldn't move the ball against Oregon's defense. So if they can steal some possession time and score touchdowns early on USC, I think that game tightens up for USC pretty quickly. And I'm rooting for that game to be close. I hope it is. Although I'm a big Caleb Williams guy, but
I don't know, because that was the first big power offense that Colorado's seen, and it just looks like when they face that, they can't stop anything.
Yeah,
that's true.
And the other part about Oregon is they got dudes on the offensive line that not a lot of other teams have, so it's just a huge size mismatch that I don't know that USC necessarily has. I think it was just a mismatch all the way around, especially going up to Oregon. It's so hard to play there,
right? Yeah.
So those games happen.
Yeah.
Especially early in a team building process. So I think they're going to be better for it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope they get to their 6 wins and play in a bowl game because that would be awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, the bottom of the Pac-12 is not very good. So they can definitely pick off some games down the stretch. I hope they play USC a little bit closer so it's not just some flash in the pan thing that they were like winning games early, but I think that's an exciting game coming up. Elsewhere in the Pac-12, Wazoo, big win against Oregon State to win next year's Pac-12 championship because they're the only 2 teams left. But Cam Ward for Washington State was awesome. He's really fun to watch if you haven't watched him yet. Go check him out. He's a lot of fun. He's very good.
You called that game. You nailed it.
Yeah. That I could not understand. Washington State is so hard to go play at because of where it's located. There's not really you can't really fly there. Similar with Oregon State. When Oregon State like plays at home, it's very hard to get to these places. So like teams are like flying into like the big cities and then driving a couple hours and then playing in these just weird stadiums.
They probably drove.
And they might have.
Right? If you're saying it.
Yeah. So I just love the teams that are those 2 teams, especially at home. And Washington State was getting 3. It just didn't make a ton of sense.
Yeah.
Oregon State gets a late touchdown to cut it to 3, but Washington State had that game pretty much in hand the whole way.
Yeah, they did for sure.
That Oregon State, I think, will be okay down the stretch, especially at home, like I said. Washington State, probably not quite on the USC, Utah, Washington tier. Yeah. But I didn't look at their schedule. But anyone that goes up there, like I said, like it's going to be tough. And they could maybe pick off 1 or 2 of those teams. I hope they don't because, again, I want the Washingtons and the Oregons and the USCs and the Utahs to be viable for the playoff. But
it was fitting that they were playing each other this week because you get the same vibe about both teams. Like upstart teams, they're like, wow, okay, they're ranked, they're killing teams. Yeah. And they're playing each other. It's sort of like a playoff. Like I got the same vibe about them. Like I'm glad they're both doing well, but I don't seriously take them as contenders.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, I mean, we'll see though. You never know. Like, these things get really interesting.
No doubt. Elsewhere, Washington continues to roll teams. I know it was California, but they put up almost 60 points. Penix might be Heisman frontrunner at this point. He looks incredible, and it's really good for him.
In the rain too.
He had a bunch of injuries early in his career. Didn't really work out at Indiana, so really happy for that guy. He looks really, really good. Washington's a really fun team to watch.
Yeah.
Utah beats UCLA in a disgusting game. Cam Rising continues to not play. I don't understand because he keeps like dressing and warming up, and then they're like, "Yeah, he's not playing." But it's working out for him so far. They're undefeated, and the fresher he can get for some of the big games down the stretch. I mean, I think Utah goes to Oregon State this week, so that'll be interesting if they don't have him. I know the defense is insane, but
the defense is crazy.
If they can't score more than 20, like it's going to be tough.
Yeah, they're not going to. That's not sustainable. You know,
right.
They need him back as soon as possible. They need to find offense, whatever way they can.
Absolutely.
And UCLA, I mean, I wasn't really buying them all too much. Like Chip Kelly, man, what's going on? Like I don't get it.
I don't know. I think they're decent. I think their defense is actually better than it has been in years past. So normally they can really move the ball. Tough spot going to Utah.
Yeah.
A lot of these Pac-12 cities just it's hard to play in.
Yeah.
The home team wins a lot in the Pac-12. And then the only other thing I had from the Pac-12, USC kind of struggled.
Yeah.
Just kind of weird to see. Just like they weren't really doing anything. End up with like a 14-point win.
Yeah.
But
we'll
see.
Yeah, well, exactly. We'll see. I don't know. It's like kind of like what you mentioned last week. It's like sort of we don't want to analyze it too. Like they won.
Right.
They won the game. But we don't want to like be like, okay, well they only beat them by like 14 or anything. It's still a win.
It is.
Know? I mean, it is Arizona State, and they kind of let them hang around a lot longer than they should. But they won. We'll see. They got the hype now. I mean, they got them 5th now. They're the best team in the Pac-12.
I mean, it makes sense. Caleb Williams is awesome still.
Yeah.
But we'll see. They're kind of like Georgia in a way. I know Georgia's obviously way more proven. And but Georgia's kind of playing with their food early in the season and still like winning easily.
Right.
But USC better get it together because
I mean,
not that I think Colorado can beat them, but they got some teams coming up.
Yeah.
They got to start really taking it serious. So, like we say every week, that conference is going to keep getting better and better, especially as these teams start playing each other. There's going to be a lot of fireworks, especially, late at night. Well, or in this case, Colorado USC's at noon for reasons. So nice early kickoff in Colorado. It's going to be weird. But elsewhere around the league in college, Oklahoma also struggles this week at Cincy. Another really weird game. Oklahoma let them hang around way too long. Cincy isn't very good this year in their first year in the Big 12, but obviously hung around a little bit, played some good defense, but Oklahoma ends up winning it. But they only scored 20. It's just a weird game.
That's a very weird game. I think the spread was 14, though, wasn't it? It was 14 on the dot.
Was it?
Pushed.
Yeah, because I bought down the teaser.
Okay.
7. Yeah, and that hit. So that makes sense.
Yeah. It was just, I kept looking at it and it would be like 14-6. And it was like that for like an hour. And I was like, are they going to put this away or like, because you can get caught,
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, you do that for too long and teams are like, okay, we can actually win this game.
Yeah.
Well, I took them blindly. I took Oklahoma blindly. And then midway through, I was like, maybe Cincinnati's just well coached.
Yeah. They could be. It's weird. I'm still not used to them in Houston being in the Big 12. Like they're like, oh, big conference game. I'm like, what are you talking about? But Michigan started slow. Rutgers takes an early 7-0 lead, but Michigan ends up asserting their dominance later in the game. But that game was close for a while as well. But Michigan is just too good, obviously, for Rutgers. The running game's too good. Texas, we kind of talked down on them last week. They might be back again.
Yeah, I don't.
Baylor might be really bad.
Yeah, that's also true. But I mean, they took care of business. They went into Baylor, and like that's always an underrated aspect is that Baylor is a home team. This is their Super Bowl for the week. I mean for the year. If they beat Texas, it's like, oh, we ruined their season.
Yeah.
So, but they went in there and they beat the crap out of them.
So Kansas goes to Texas this week. Kansas has actually looked pretty good. That's gonna be an interesting test for Texas, especially because Red River is next week. Texas, Oklahoma. So that's obviously the big game in the Big 12 this year. Kansas has a chance to potentially punch them in the mouth, I think, if they're sleepwalking early. That game should feature a lot of offense. Should be a lot of fun. But we'll see. I'm excited for Texas, Oklahoma next week. I think that's going to be a really good game.
Yeah.
Northwestern won.
In overtime.
In overtime.
I did not see that.
The total for the game was 39. The final score is 37-34. Northwestern, they beat Minnesota. Minnesota should not play football for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Overtime started, and Northwestern was plus 200 in overtime.
That's
at home.
Yeah.
At home.
So they, it's funny. They're home to Penn State this week, and I just saw this. Penn State is actually practicing without music to get ready for the atmosphere.
Oh my god!
Like most teams play the other team's fight song, or like get it really loud to get their team ready. They're practicing completely silent to get ready for their Northwestern trip, which is sad.
That's sad. They need to leave the Big Ten. That is terrible.
How'd they get into the Big Ten? Who
I
let
don't
them
know. They're like a journalism school.
Right.
Like, what are they doing? I don't know. Probably sports writers in America stuff.
That's probably what happened.
Because didn't they have a for the longest time they'd never made the basketball March Madness tournament.
Yeah, that was
a
couple years ago. It was like the first time in forever.
Yeah.
So
killer. I don't get it.
Speaking of Penn State, they house Iowa. Iowa's offensive coordinator's on the hot seat because they scored 0 points.
That's right.
So I tried to give out a winner. Andrew told me their live total at halftime was 6.5. So we took it thinking that the offensive coordinator would try to score some points. They didn't.
No.
But it happened.
That's killer.
I saw people getting nasty at Penn State because they were like, "This is their whiteout game."
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah. Very bad choice. The issue with that now is because of the big noon kickoff, Fox is controlling so many of the big games to happen at noon. So like Penn State, Ohio State's probably early in the day, and I don't know if that's at Penn State this year, but or Penn State, Michigan's probably early in the day, so they can't do the nighttime whiteout. So they have to choose these like weird games that you don't even need it.
True.
For. But It is weird. Like last year they did it against Minnesota. And it's like, come on. You don't need to do this.
No.
But yeah. That was pretty much what I had from this past week. This week the slate isn't quite as good. Georgia goes to Auburn. You say you like Auburn?
Not against Georgia. That's different.
Okay. I brought up Kansas at Texas. Some games to think about for next week. Like I said, Red River rivalry is next week. And Maryland is currently undefeated. They go to Ohio State next week. I believe they're home for Indiana this week as like a 2-touchdown favorite. I'm not going to bet against my Terps, but if you're out there thinking, Maryland might be looking ahead to Ohio State, I would probably guess that they are. So, Indiana team coming in that almost lost to Akron. So, definitely could be looking past that one. But the only other, I hate UConn. That's all I'm going to say. They were losing 41-0, and they hit the over by scoring a touchdown with 12 seconds left. That sucked. But that's about it for college football from this past week, and for next week as well. But I don't know. It comes in waves. Like last week was very good. Next week's not so good. But take what you can get. It's college football is always fun, and like I said, it's so much fun to gamble on. So things change very quickly. So moving on, talk about a little bit of baseball now that we're finally in the final week. It feels like we've been talking about end of year plans for a month now. Thinking about potential matchups. We finally get our first set matchup with the Phillies and Brewers both clinching last night. They are locked into the 3 and the 4 seed. So they will be playing each other in a 3-game series next week in Milwaukee. Any picks for you guys? I am rooting for the Phillies. Yeah. I'm going to be honest. They're a lot of fun to watch. Bryce is so much fun in the postseason. Obviously, they had so many moments last year. So I'm rooting for them to sort of recapture that energy, and I want to see them play Atlanta. So, but I feel like the Brewers are good, man. Yeah. Their pitching staff is really real. And if they can get enough out of that lineup, it's going to be tough.
Yeah. I'd probably lean Brewers.
Okay.
But I don't know. It's a tough one. Who do I want to win? That's very difficult.
So they get 2 home games?
All 3. It's a 3-game series. All 3 are in Milwaukee.
I guess give me the Brewers. That sucks, though. They're going to get steamrolled by the Braves.
Yeah, that's the thing is I really want to see another Phillies-Braves series.
Yeah.
But, well, I guess that wouldn't even happen. No, yes. Here we go again. No, it would not.
With reseeding? Do they reseed?
They don't.
Oh, so you're saying.
So the Brewers are the 3. They expect them to win, so they'd play the Dodgers. So the Phillies-Braves couldn't happen until NLCS, but I don't think the Dodgers are going to do that much.
See, I really liked them. Like I really liked them, but I don't know.
They just lost their Rockies.
Yeah. They just, I don't know. They always find a way to lose, don't they? I mean, they get there into the playoffs all the time, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems like the Braves have really kind of pulled ahead.
Well, and it might just be that they have been so comfortable for so long, but they haven't been playing great.
Yeah.
They're playing the Cubs right now in a series, which is a big series for the Cubs, which I'll get to in a minute. Should have lost last night. Cubs make a huge mistake again. I'll get to that in a minute. But I think they lost a series to the Rockies. They lost a series to the Cardinals. Like, they're not playing amazing. And again, it could just be like they're just going through the motions. But how long can you go through the motions and then pick it up and be okay? I'm ready. Right. I'm ready for playoffs. So,
especially that lineup, in my opinion, there's a bunch of players that should be good. There's just a big fall off, and it makes like when it gets to that 6, 7, 8, even JD Martinez. Like, he can get some RBIs if people are on base, but if it's just him, I never see him get on base. Like, he's so slow. So I'm not sold on the bomb their lineup, but as long as their pitching can keep them in games, I think they have the stars that can get it done.
See that, but that's where I'm for the Dodgers. I don't think they have the pitching. Obviously, like we talked about, they lost Arias. Clayton hasn't been very good. Like, I mean, lately he's been good, but the velo's down again, and I know he can still get guys out, but I think that worries me in the playoffs. So, and Walker Buehler's not coming back. So their pitching worries me, like in a postseason setting.
Yeah.
To the fact where, like you're talking about, like Mookie and JD aren't going to be able to carry them the whole way, in my opinion. So sticking in the NL, like I said, Phillies Brewers is locked in.
Give me the Phillies.
Yeah, Phillies are going to get home games against what looks like the D-backs. That's what it is.
Oh,
That's a fun. That would be a fun 3-game set. The Brewers will get the last team in the wild card. Right now is the Cubs. Awful error last night to lose to the Braves. The Seiya Suzuki just completely botched a fly ball right at him. Let the 2 go-ahead runs score. They really need to win these games because they have the Braves in this week and then the Brewers this weekend. Maybe they catch the Brewers at the right time now that they've clinched. But, I mean, they have by far the hardest schedule out of the challenging teams for the NL wildcard. Marlins are about half. I think they're a half game back. I think they were playing a doubleheader today. I think they lost game 1. So we'll see about game 2. The Reds, I think, are a game out. Last time I checked, they were down to the Guardians again tonight. So maybe the Cubs just get in by attrition, but and I hope they do. But last night sucked for them.
That was really bad. I've seen Suzuki make good plays too.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was a lock to catch that ball. He called off the center fielder like we talked about earlier, and then he just stabbed at the ball. It
was crazy. And that sucks. But
it sucks there's 2 outs too. If there was 1 out, they weren't scoring both runs either. Man.
And it was 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th, so it's like, man, all right, make the catch. Go to the 9th, down 1. Or up 1, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let's close this out, but that didn't happen.
And they're up
6-0.
6, yeah.
Yeah.
In the 6th or 5th or something late.
Yeah. I think the Braves scored 7 runs in the final 3 innings.
Yep.
So really brutal for them. Like I said, they get the Brewers this weekend, but the Brewers might be trying to set up their pitching staff for the wild card series. So maybe they don't pitch as long, but they might have to go through Burns and Peralta because they're trying to get those guys on schedule for the playoffs ahead. But
that's tough.
Very tough for them. The Marlins get the Pirates this weekend, and then the Reds get the Reds get the Cardinals. So Cubs have a much more uphill battle, I think, despite currently being in that last spot.
What do teams normally do? Do they sit people or do they try and keep them hot?
It's a mix of both, and I will have that. I was going to talk about that with the AL because the Orioles are down to their magic numbers now too. As we sit here, both them and the Rays are playing, so they could be clinched by the time this comes out. Not only that, but for them, right, they don't have to play in this midweek wild card series. Whoever Orioles or Rays, whoever wins the AL East, so they're not playing again until October 7th, which is Saturday, a week from Saturday. And the season ends on this upcoming Sunday. So it's a real struggle between like trying to keep guys hot versus like trying to get them the correct rest. So it's kind of just like the NFL, like rest versus rust debate.
Wow.
But yeah, Orioles hopefully clinch soon so that they can figure it out. It's been a lot of fun for them, but I know they're not playing great baseball right now, but they're kind of just grinding out what they need to do to win the division. It's been a long second half of just like fighting to win the division. So I think getting over this hump will be huge for them. Obviously, they just played 17 days in a row, which is not easy. But a lot of people are gonna point at the pitching, but Kyle Bradish and Grayson Rodriguez both have sub-2 or sub-3 ERAs in the second half. They just get John Means back as well, who was an ace for them. I know the bullpen's an issue at times, but I think they might be still getting not the respect they deserve, and I think it's wide open in the AL.
Yeah. I mean, definitely, it's hard to. I don't know. It's so rough because throughout, I think every person has thought in the back of their minds, like, are the Orioles like legit?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
it's the close wins, I think.
Too. It's close wins, and sometimes it's ugly, and it's not like blowing out teams. Like like the Rays are like 10 wins projected over how many wins they have. Like they're the statistics back them and everything, and I don't know. I worry about the bullpen. I do honestly, but I think everywhere else they've done everything they can to prove that they're legit. I mean the lineup. 1 to 9 is incredible. It's wild. And, I've never experienced anything like it. I think this is the best Orioles team I've ever seen with my own eyes.
If they win, one more win will this Orioles team will have the most wins in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Wow.
97 team won 98 win. Had 98 wins. We were all born in 97. They haven't been better than that since.
Right.
So quite literally, I mean, they haven't won 100 games since 1981.
Yeah.
So if they can get to that mark, that's just sort of like a fun, like round number.
Yeah. That'd be nice. I want it.
I will say the bats have been cold.
Yeah.
That's something we're worried about.
Yeah.
But even when they are cold, we show up in the clutch moments.
Yeah.
Which is going to be huge for us.
Right.
I've been more concerned about the bats than the pitching pretty much the whole year, to be honest, just because they're so young.
Yeah.
And some guys go through extended cold streaks that look really, really bad, where it's just not even touching the ball.
Yep.
But those same guys get scorching hot, and they're hitting 3 home runs in 5 days type thing. So that's where it's like, man, if they get hot at the right time, it could be really good. If they're cold, you better hope the pitching's working. But like I said, Bradish and Grayson, at least in the second half, I know they're young. The playoffs might be different, but there's not really a better 1-2 punch by the numbers in the second half.
Yeah, I feel great about them.
So, I feel bad. Again, the Rays lose more guys since we talked last. Brendan Lau is out 4 to 6 weeks. Jason Adam came off IL, went right back on it, I believe. Randy Arozarena got hurt. I'm not sure if he was back tonight or not, but just the lineups that they're putting out right now look like the Durham Bulls. It's crazy. And they put up 9 runs last night.
Yeah.
I mean, Junior Caminaro comes right up from Double-A and looks like a stud. So credit to them. There hasn't been any news on the Wander situation, but I'm assuming he's not playing in the playoffs or anything like that. So they got what they got, but I do feel bad for them. They have just been torched by injuries.
It stinks.
AL West is going to be a lot of fun these last few days as well. Looks like Texas is going to win the division, but they got to go to Seattle this weekend for 4.
Yeah,
and that's what's awesome about Seattle is they're on the outside looking in currently, but they get their last game in with Houston today, and then they get Texas for 4. So they got everything they want right in front of them. They can obviously sweep the Rangers to win the division. They're half a game behind Houston coming into tonight. They've split the first 2. So obviously a massive game. Seattle does hold the tiebreaker over Houston, but Texas holds the tiebreaker over Seattle. So that's just been a fun battle that no one's really pulled away from. Toronto beat the Rays in a series this past weekend, so they're a little bit more entrenched. They get the Rays again this upcoming weekend, which if the Orioles do clinch ahead of that, I can definitely see the Rays not playing a lot of guys.
Yeah, for sure.
So the Blue Jays might get off scot-free, and because I think they're gonna have to turn around and play the Rays.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
So what, 9 games in 14 days?
Yeah. So like if Houston loses tonight, it might be curtains, because I think because of the tiebreaker. I think if Seattle splits this 4-game set with Texas, as long as they win tonight, Houston would have to sweep the Diamondbacks to get in. So
that'd be awesome. I'd cry.
Diamondbacks are locked?
They're not quite, but they're trending that way.
Yeah.
So I mean, that could be a huge series as well. Diamondbacks Astros. I don't think any other NL team is going to jump up and catch the Diamondbacks, but it's not over till it's over. So
yeah.
I did bet the Padres to make the playoffs when they were on their 8-game win streak. I don't understand how that team's bad, but I think that this team deserves its own documentary on how they're not like a 95-win team, but
it's crazy.
But yeah, finally next week going to get some playoff baseball. The season's just so long. I feel like I've been like just wanting to get here for 3 months at this point. Like, a lot of the teams have kind of been locked in. So very, very excited. Playoff baseball is the best. I'll keep saying it. And these 3-game series used to just be 1-game series or a 1-game playoff. So now having the element of a 3-game series, I think is going to be a lot of fun. You might get some fun Game 3 scenarios coming up next week. So we'll obviously cover. We record on Wednesday night, so we'll cover what we can next Wednesday. Who's clinched, who hasn't, and then go from there.
Yeah, cool. It's gonna be really exciting.
Yes. Last thing before we get to the halftime dough for the day, I might go on a 5-minute monologue, but I gotta talk Ryder Cup. I know you guys might not have a lot to say about it, but the Ryder Cup is awesome. I know you watch golf, Andrew, so I know you'll probably tune in at some point. Ben, I want you to tune in at least on Sunday morning, because the Sunday one-on-one matches are fireworks. If you have any interest in golf,
I do like golf. I do. As I've gotten older, I've enjoyed watching, which is weird. I have no desire to play it all that much, but I like watching.
You did fine.
Yeah,
When do you wake up on Sundays?
Man, so this Sunday I'm actually going to a wedding, but the wedding, so the ceremony is at like 3:00.
Oh,
So I was gonna get up earlier to do like schoolwork or something, but I can throw on the Ryder Cup
Yeah,
in the
so
background.
I'll set the stage for you. They're playing in Rome, so the time difference is about 6 hours. Friday and Saturday, the morning sessions start at 1:30 a.m. Eastern. So probably not up for that. The afternoon sessions, I think, are like 7:30 Eastern. So get to watch some of that. But Sunday, the singles matches go off starting at 5:30 in the morning. So I'm not saying, get up at 5:30, but like there's a London game this week at 9:30. So get up at like 7, 8 o'clock. Tune into some golf as they come down the stretch. As long as the Ryder Cup in itself is close, the singles matches get pretty heated. And the European fans create a legit home field environment. And it's just so much fun to watch. And I've never bet on it before, but I've really enjoyed trying to predict the different things that might happen, because essentially each team has a captain and they set the lineups for the day. So Friday and Saturday, only 8 golfers out of the 12 on the team will play in each session. So they bench 4 guys. So I've been really enjoying throughout the week trying to predict, okay, who's going to play the most sessions? Who's going to play with who? Who's going to like get hot at the right time to force their hand to keep playing in all the sessions? And that's what's important when you're betting like top point scorers. So I bet Shane Lowry 35-1 to be the top point scorer. I don't like it anymore. I'm gonna be honest with you, but I have bet it.
Same.
It was looking like he was going to play with Rory on Thursday morning. I don't know if that's the case anymore, but if he does,
then we got
you got a shot, because if Rory likes playing with him and they win, he's going to play again Thursday afternoon. If they keep doing that, he's going to keep playing, and then it's just a matter of if he can win Sunday with whoever he gets paired up with.
I hear Shane's a good time, and they both go for the pot of gold.
Seems like a good time. So I like Jordan Spieth, top U.S. point scorer. I think I love him in match play events. Obviously, he has the propensity to blow up on a hole, but that doesn't matter in match play because it's just 1 point against you. So
he scores.
He scores, and he's pretty intimidating because he chips in from like everywhere on the golf course. So like I don't think the opponent's ever comfortable. Like even if he's 30 yards offline in the rough, they're probably like, well, he's probably going to put this close. I better still like focus and make sure I make my birdie or make my par. So he's probably going to play with Justin Thomas to start. Justin Thomas obviously not in the great form, but that's a team that obviously they're best friends, so they can get hot as well.
If you're a European captain, who are you putting against them? You're not putting your stars against them, right? Like you're not putting Rahm.
You just kind of set a lineup.
Yeah.
You don't get to decide who matches with who.
Well, because they have the international factor, right? Like they're superstars anywhere they go. Spieth and Thomas, everyone loves them. So it's got to be almost
not in the Ryder.
There's the fans won't love them.
No,
really.
Oh my, they pull so hard for Europe.
Wow.
That's why and the U.S. hasn't won in Europe since 1991, and so the U.S. team is better. But the European fans are crazy.
Did they wear the gear too?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they go all out. And I mean, first tee box, they get heckled to no end. Like the U.S. players, like for that week, it doesn't matter if you love Ricky Fowler or not, or if you love Brooks Koepka, they hate you, and they're gonna make it known, and they're gonna cheer really loud for the Europeans, and that oftentimes pushes the Europeans to win.
That's fun.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Just tune in, see if you like it, but it's an awesome time. And the last one was in the U.S. The U.S. blew them out, so it wasn't really close coming down the stretch. I think this one's going to be pretty good. So Europe's going to ride their top 3 guys with Victor, Rory, and Rahm. I think they're going to play all 5 sessions if they can, and they're going to ride them as far as they can go because the back end of their roster is not quite as good. But
what's the little parlay we threw out earlier? Toss out there for the fans.
Oh, John Rahm, top European point scorer. Jordan Spieth, top U.S. point scorer. I think it was 71-1 on DraftKings.
Pretty juicy.
Big fan of that. U.S. is a little tougher, but I think if Jordan loses a match, I think it'll probably be because of Thomas. So I think Jordan would stay. They bench Thomas type thing,
True.
And Spieth would then play with Ricky or something like that. So I think there's a chance he could still play a lot. I don't know if anyone on U.S. is going to play all 5 because they're going to be able to mix and match a lot better than the Europeans can. So that's my monologue. If you have any interest in golf, take a look at the Ryder Cup. It's so much fun. And the guys love it too. They talk about how it's a better environment than even the Masters, and this is what they really care about. They really get up for this. So you see way more energy than you ever would on a golf course. Like obviously the golf that we're used to is very like monotonous and repetitive and whatever. But like this is much more like holy crap, like like things are happening all over the place and the crowd is like way into it. So
Yeah.
take a look, give it a shot. But on that note, let's eat some dessert.
Yes, yeah. So these are Snickerdoodle Blondies. These are Snickerdoodle Blondies made by Rachael. If for the viewers, our significant others are on a rotation. So this week was Rachel's, and so we got these. She told me. You got that sniff?
The cinnamon smell.
Yesterday was a great night at my house. She said the outer ones are a little more done. So if you want like softer, chewy ones, go for the middle. Then I was told that you would like the ones that are chewy.
I'm a big middle guy.
Yeah,
Big middle guy?
Always
Okay.
middle guy.
I'm going to go to the outside. But I respect it. Producer Alex?
You like the outsides?
I'm going to go with the outside.
But do you like the outsides?
Yeah, I typically
Like more?
I am famous for liking things overdone. So, well done steak. Yeah, I know.
Oh.
I'm one of them.
Not this. This is well done.
Yeah, I know. Right. Yeah.
Whoa.
That's really good.
That's good.
That's good.
That's good.
Yep. Call me crazy. Kind of tastes like a cinnamon waffle.
Yes.
That's
Well,
exactly. No.
maybe not waffle. Just
No.
just like a cinnamon roll.
Yeah. Is this a donut situation again, like a Wonka donuts or whatever you're talking about?
No, it's nothing like that. And shout out to our friend Dakota for knowing what I was talking about, by the way.
You're welcome.
It's really good. I'm going to eat two
Yeah, I mean, probably.
because this is one of the overdone ones. Apparently.
I remember early on you said she considered doing cinnamon rolls.
Mm-hmm.
I think this was a good pivot, especially for this.
Mm-hmm. It gets the cinnamon roll flavor almost without the glaze on the top.
Yeah.
Which is really weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really good.
I wouldn't have hated some glaze.
Dude, I'm telling you, I'm the first glaze. I love a good glaze, but I can appreciate some non-glaze.
It's true.
And also, go ahead.
Good.
For the record, this is my first time having this, fellas. I didn't cheat. Okay, you guys cheated the past 2 times. So.
Yeah.
I mean,
It happens.
I had to.
I respect it, but wow, really good.
Very good.
The ones toward the middle, I think I'm gonna enjoy a little more.
Probably. So, blondies are brownies, right? They're just the.
I have no idea. I don't know.
Well, because when it comes to brownies, like I said last week, they have to be fudgy, in my opinion. And this matches the fudgy.
They were denser than I was expecting, which was good.
Yeah, no, I need it to be like this.
Yeah.
Like if they were like the kind of dry, more cakey,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have liked it as much.
I think Rachel was really worried about the outside-inside thing, and I think that's why she was really
Do
worried
I
about
have to
it.
try an outside?
I'll try an
one?
outside. Fine, try one.
Blondies use vanilla extract and brown sugar instead of cocoa powder.
Mm.
But yes, they are the same.
Interesting.
Give a score over there, producer Alex.
We are up 5-1.
I meant on the blondie.
Oh.
But also,
I
thank you.
thought you wanted to O's. I'm
I'm happy about it.
I'm
Wow,
going 9 on the dot.
The ones inside are like so much better.
I'm not going to try an outside one.
I wouldn't. It's not bad. It's
No, I
not
gotcha.
bad. But I'm saying like you should judge with this in mind.
I
Like,
used to be the
then
kind of
forget
person
that and go to this.
This tastes the same.
Really?
But wait,
I
but
didn't get a corner. I got like a edge.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
that's
I-
why.
then when you
got
get
the
to the
corner.
edge, are you going to say that?
Maybe. I don't know.
Because I used to be the kind of person that wouldn't eat the crust on pizza. Like, Man.
That's really good. Wow. The middle is. I think it's because I got a corner piece. I think that's what it was.
And
I know we're supposed to be judging, but like you wouldn't even dip like the crust in like marinara.
No.
Really?
No. Garlic butter, maybe. I
Fair.
became that person.
Mhm.
But like I wouldn't eat it without the garlic butter, especially Papa John's. The pizza's thick.
Talking about inside outside and pizza. Sicilian pizza, inside or outside.
That's outside.
Definitely.
Is that-
I think I like the crust.
Yeah.
What do they do to that crust?
I don't know.
It's like caramelized.
I know.
All right. See, here's the thing. We've been scoring super high.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be seen as a hater when I do this.
You're not.
They're really good. I'm going to need a minute.
I'll go. I'm gonna go with 8.5.
I'm going to go 8-1.
Oh, okay.
8-1. No, they're really good.
They're really good.
I ate 2 in my head, so
Yeah.
I'll go with that.
These are really, really good.
Very good. I would eat the whole tray.
I'm so happy they're not dry.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't want to use the word, but like they're moist.
I've never had a problem with that word.
Really?
Yeah.
Nah. I'll have one later.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it.
You're welcome to have seconds.
I'll have thirds.
She made a lot. There's a lot there,
No, they're awesome.
and they're staying.
All right. I'm ready to continue.
Yeah.
I think.
What?
Kind of want one more.
Then go ahead. We can talk. You're good.
All right.
Pick at it.
All right. Let's get into the NFL. I'm going to try my best because I felt like I did not give the Thursday night game credit last week just because we record on Wednesdays. It feels like it happened 4 weeks ago at this point. So I'll just start with Niners Giants. Not that we have to talk about it a lot, but I will say 3-0 around the table here.
Hook and back parlay 1-0.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, hook and back
Wow.
parlays 1-0.
Sorry it wasn't out there. You know,
Yeah.
it was only in the group chat, I guess, but we nailed it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we were gonna have to roast Andrew. Coming like watching the game, I was like, man, Andrew's gonna get a lot of hate next week because I'm not gonna go easy. But Darius Slayton showed
He's
up.
always on the field. You saw
Oh,
he was
yeah, I know,
always
I
on-
know. I know, and I think my pick this week's gonna be pretty similar. But yeah, Darius Slayton gets there on the last drive. The Giants put up a fight for a little bit, but they were way overmatched. The Niners look like the best team in the NFL at this point. I will say Purdy is still missing throws. Like I really hate to be a hater, but I am a hater. But he's also missing throws, so like I gotta point it out. They're obviously winning without the need for him. But the Giants obviously no Saquon, no 2 offensive linemen. They fought for a little bit, but it was just way too much for them. So
I think that'll be the tail of their season.
I think so.
It's
too.
just like and if you look at their schedule is brutal.
Part of the reason I looked at them as being way regression this year. Yes.
I grabbed right here and I got an N somehow.
What?
Keep going. Sorry.
They have a big game this week though, at home against Seattle on Monday night, which will be a super long week for them. So I don't know that Saquon will be back, but hopefully they get healthy elsewhere on the team. But they got to get off the mat a little bit. Like they got to start putting up some wins if they want.
Yeah, this is. I think if they go 1-3, that's just it.
Yeah.
Because they've played one division game.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the Commanders are kind of a better team at this point.
Well, maybe.
I know that they got
think
blown
so.
out, but I still think they're better.
I tend to agree. I think I said that in the preseason, so I'll stick with it. But
I think it's time for the Giants to hit the restart button.
I never. Them signing Jones was never a good idea.
yeah, we talked about it last year. Like
Yeah.
Daniel Jones just put them in a horrible spot by playing well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Saquon got the new deal, but that's still the same 1-year deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to lose him. Like they.
Which is fine.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That's
I
the
mean,
thing.
that's the thing. It's like it stinks.
They
Poor
just
running
they
backs.
need playmakers. Their receiving core is a bunch of wide receiver threes.
Yeah.
They drafted Hyatt, which I didn't get because he's not really your one. He's more of like the go route kind of guy, like big play guy.
They didn't use him. He
They're
didn't
not
see the
using him.
field.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm just saying in terms of the way they're building the team, like they really need a guy that And I guess they thought Waller was going to be that guy, but he really wasn't last year, so it was kind of surprising that they did that.
I'll give Waller some time.
Fair
for
enough.
sure. Because, like I said, that was a tough matchup for him
Yeah,
this week. And when you did see him in the open field making plays, like he looked pretty good still. He looked quick.
Yeah.
So I'll give him some time on that.
So maybe they'll figure it out, but that's an interesting one on Monday night this week, I think, for them. So
yeah, I think they're favored.
Last I saw was a pick'em, I
What?
believe.
You said in Seattle?
At home.
It's at home.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
I do like the Seahawks.
If the Seahawks were at home, I would actually be like, we're going to say it's Survivor.
Yeah.
You know? But no. That's
I guess we'll just go right to tomorrow, just so we can get some of these best bets out there. But good game tomorrow. Lions at Packers might be for the division, which is weird to say. For especially, but although I think the Vikings will come back. Whatever. We'll get there. We'll get to them. But should be a good game. A rematch from Week 18 last year, which was obviously the Lions knocking the Packers out in Lambeau. So obviously no Rodgers this year. Jordan Love orchestrated the comeback against the Saints last week. Saints lost Derek Carr in the game, so it's tough to really judge it.
Tough defense.
And they should have lost. Obviously, the Saints had a kick at the end to win it, and they missed it. So there goes the Saints' undefeated season. But I did say the Packers were going to win, so whatever. But yeah, Packers-Lions tomorrow night. Should be a good one.
Yeah. Tough game. Tough. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's tough to gauge these two teams. Like, I don't even know what to make
I
of
have
the
no
Packers.
read on that game.
Yeah. Like, I don't know.
I want to like the Lions, but it just seems like if you get ahead of the Falcons and get them out of what they want to do, they're dead because Ritter's not good. So that's what the Lions did, and they just kind of coasted all the way through that game.
Yeah.
A lot of injuries that are going to shape the way this game ends up turning out.
Sure.
David Montgomery's questionable, Christian Watson's questionable, Aaron Jones questionable. So a lot of key players on both sides. But I want the Lions to do well. I want them to win. I think Goff's played well so far.
Yeah, he has. Part of me wants to think the Packers are legit because they were up 9 to the Falcons before they blew that game. And that was a frustrating way to lose that game.
It's just tough.
If I hear the Falcons, I don't care about that game. I'm so against the Falcons. I think they're bad.
They're not very good.
I don't care if they're 2-1.
And they shouldn't have won this week. So I mean,
3-0. Are they 3-0?
The Packers?
Falcons?
No, they just lost. Okay. Just lost to the Lions. Yeah.
So I thought you were talking about the Falcons. Yeah.
No. I think I don't know. It's hard to read the Packers. I don't know because there's a scenario where they're 3-0. It's like okay,
and
what
3-0 with getting their best receiver back.
Right. Yeah. And Jair Alexander hasn't been totally healthy too. He's questionable for this game too. And they'll get David Bakhtiari back, and he's amazing.
It's impressive what they're doing.
Like it's
not much.
It's hard.
It's hard to gauge.
But right, like Love has like a 53% completion percentage, and their weapons stink. Even if they're totally healthy, I think their weapons like really aren't good in compared to other teams.
I don't know. I really like Christian Watson.
Yeah, but I like Dobbs. I think he's not that bad.
Me too.
But also, I think his value might be overstated.
Sure.
Because they had Aaron Rodgers last year, so
Fair
maybe
enough.
he isn't that good, and maybe Aaron Jones isn't that good.
Yeah.
And AJ Dillon is apparently terrible.
He's terrible, man.
And they're and I don't really know what to make of their defense yet and stuff. They're just a huge unknown team. It's hard for me to even take them in this game. You'd think the Lions would win.
You would think so. It's just home teams on Thursday night seem to do really well.
Yeah.
True.
But yeah, I mean, at least it's an interesting Thursday night game.
Yeah,
a lot of teams have no interest at all. You just kind of watch to watch. But I'll throw my best bet out there. It might be a little Darius Slayton-esque in the fact that it's a little, I don't want to say risky, but he had no targets last week, so it's a little risky. But Josh Reynolds over 2.5 receptions. Still playing 80% of the snaps. First 2 weeks, he had 6 targets and 5 targets. I think last week was just a fluke in the fact that, like I said, they were just coasting, and I think only 3 or 4 players even got targets on or got receptions for the Lions, which is unusual. They're not going to be able to rely on Laporta and Amon-Ra the same way, I don't think, because both those guys, you need outside receivers to do something. So I like Reynolds enough to think that he'll get 4, 5, 6 targets again, and hopefully they're high value targets. But I think the over 2.5 is a pretty good number, and might just be a little deflated based off the fact that he had nothing last week. So
Yeah, the total on the game is 46.
Yeah.
So that means they're anticipating more points than like the average NFL game, let's say. Because
Right,
usually the
yeah,
line's
right
like
around.
42, 43. So that makes me think, okay, well they're going to throw the ball more.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, I don't hate that. You know, I also like Josh Reynolds. I've always liked him, even when he was in LA. I thought he was, but they replaced him with Van Jefferson,
who might not be very good.
right?
From what we have seen from Josh Reynolds, I worry he's just the big play guy for them.
Yeah, I thought about that.
So that's and I'm worried that as they grow as a team, they're growing as a funnel team. So they funnel their guys.
They could be,
but I don't hate it. I will always support snap counts.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
So fine, I'll jump into my snap counts. Mine's also on the other side, or mine's also receivers. So there's the possibility of Christian Watson playing that Ben brought up to me before we started this, and that does throw a wrench into one of the plays. So this is going to be conditional play. So the play, if Christian Watson is out, is Dontavian Wicks over 1.5 receptions. So he played 65% of the snaps this last week. If you're playing 65% of the snaps and your line's 1.5, I'm going to take you.
Fair enough.
Now, if Christian Watson gets rolled out, does that move up?
That's what I was wondering.
I'm not sure. And if it does move to 2.5, I will not be taking that. I'll be going to Romeo Doubs, who I have over 3.5 receptions is the play for him right now, but also 39.5 yards.
Yeah, that's pretty low, and he likes Dobbs. I know that week 2 he didn't have a good week, but weeks 1 and 3 now Dobbs has been a really good part. And last year, before this, he was the preseason darling last year. He started before he got hurt. Aaron Rodgers liked him.
Yes, I'm not sure what happened week 2.
Yeah.
I wish I knew more.
I don't think he got 40. I think it was like 2-3 receptions.
But he plays 84% of snaps. He's obviously the guy. Even when Christian Watson there, he has his role.
Yeah.
So I'll be taking 39.5 yards if Dontavian Wicks, if Christian Watson plays. But the reason why I'm going Wicks if he doesn't play over Dobbs is when you have 84% of the snaps and 65% of the snaps, a 2 reception difference, in my opinion, is not worth that difference.
I would agree. I do wonder with Dobbs, and this might decide what you take, is if Watson does play, does that push Dobbs to the slot, which maybe you would like the receptions more than the yards? I'd have to look into what happened last year.
Yeah, Watson is the outside guy.
Yeah, so maybe he gets more of the shorter middle of the field stuff, which you like receptions more for instead of the yards, but might be something to look at.
My guess, too, is Dobbs was there anyway.
Yeah.
So, like, last week, I think he was in the slot anyway. Because he got, like, 12 targets. He got crazy targets last week.
He did.
And he only caught 5 balls.
I know. Yeah, that's part of the Jordan Love thing. But.
Yeah, right. 2 receptions, 30 yards, week 2. So he got the 2 touchdowns in week 1, and he's still a little short of 40, obviously, in week 2. But
No, I know. Yeah, in week 1, week 1 was short too.
week 1 he was short, 426, but he got the red zone targets, 2 touchdowns. So last week, 73 yards, 5 receptions.
So my play will be Wicks over 1.5 if Watson's out, Dobbs over 39.5 yards if he's in.
Okay.
I'm locked.
Okay. Tweet it whenever you officially place.
Heard.
Cool.
Or I guess when inactives come out. Ben?
I am going to go, so I'm actually going to go with the guy who I have no idea about with Jordan Love. I'm going to go with over 32.5 pass attempts. Jordan Love has gone over that number twice this season, but quarterbacks who have played against the Lions have gone over that number at least by 6. So it would be Geno Smith, somebody on or Patrick Mahomes, and then last week Desmond Ridder. So 39 for Ridder, 39 for Mahomes, and then 44 for Geno Smith.
Yeah.
So the Lions defense, very susceptible to the pass. That's been the key to beating them. And they're like a bottom 10 team when it comes to pass yards per game, pass yards allowed. So their average depth of target going into last week for all their quarterbacks when they threw the ball was like 10.5. That was the number 1 in the NFL. But then they played the Falcons, and Desmond Ridder had it was like 5.2 average depth of target. So now their average has gone down to 8.2, 8.3, which is still a bottom 10 mark in the NFL. So,
I really like that play, actually, especially if Aaron Jones doesn't play. But assuming that he's not 100%. He's not going to play a ton. They can't keep running the ball with A.J. Dillon. He's terrible.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to throw the ball, and we all kind of seem to like the Lions, so if they're behind a little bit, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I think if we know anything about the Lions, they are going to be able to move the ball.
Yeah.
And so I think it comes down to, all right, this game is about Jordan Love versus the Lions defense.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the stories, in my opinion. Like, what's the Lions defense going to react to Jordan Love? And also, the thing about Love is his completion percentage is awful, but he doesn't take sacks. He's been sacked 3 times this year, you know? So he's feeling the pressure flying.
Yeah.
And I just think I think he'll hit that number pretty easily.
I think you're right.
The fact that Ritter did it. That's what does it for me.
Ritter did it, right. But they were down. That's the thing. They were down in that game. And last week was the only week he went over that number because they were down in that game.
Yeah.
But I just think this is going to be a different pace of play. So the teams that Green Bay has played, it's either been they played a dominant run team in Atlanta. They played a team they blew out in the Bears, and then they were down last week a lot to the Saints.
Yeah.
So none of those teams really put up a lot of points against them.
Yeah.
You know, I think the Lions are the best offensive they played this year, and they could score 30. You know, so I don't know. That's what I liked.
I like that.
It was hard for me to find a pick for this game. I'm not gonna lie.
It was tough.
And look, let's be honest. I'm the weak link here. You guys are gonna dominate me in this season series.
Why?
I'm calling it right now. You guys are gonna win.
We're all win.
I'm gonna be well. I hope so.
I like your play more than I like mine. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I think so too.
It's minus 120. So
yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
especially when you throw it in a parlay, it's fine.
Yeah.
Extra play, I just didn't put it out there just because I didn't want to do a contingency one. So if it doesn't hit, it doesn't matter because it's just a contingency play, right? If Montgomery doesn't play, I like Goff for over 1.5 passing touchdowns because he threw one and he also ran one in last week. I don't expect him to run one in, and they obviously only scored 20, so they only scored 2 touchdowns. So without the goal line threat at running back of Montgomery, I think they're going to be looking to throw the ball in the end zone. So I like that if Montgomery sits, but if not, I probably won't touch that one.
Yeah, he did only do that week too. But yeah, you're right. Montgomery is a big effect on that because I looked into that too.
Cool. Let's get into some of the past Sunday's games. I don't know where to start, but I'll start with like we talked about, the most fun dumb game of the season, Chargers Vikings. They both tried to lose in immaculate fashions. The Vikings were just better at losing. So credit to them. They're 0-3. It's so weird because last year we talked about the Vikings as this huge negative regression team, right? Okay, I get it. Aren't they due for a huge positive regression already this year? They're losing turnover battles, which is never good, but it's somewhat fluky.
Mm-hmm.
So they should really be 3-0.
Yeah,
at least 2-1. But they're losing games in insane ways.
Yeah. I mean, they had 2 chances in the red zone to beat the Chargers last week. Yeah. You know, I mean, they didn't get it in the end zone on 8 straight plays.
I understand.
So it's like, well, that makes me think that's not likely to happen again, you know, and I'm not really sold on the Chargers. I know their offense is dynamic, but I don't really buy their defense. But the Vikings have actually looked really good in like all of their games. So, and they benefit from being in a division that's pretty like weak overall. So I still think they can claw. You always get one team that is like 1-3, 1-4, and then they find a way to claw their way back in it. Like we saw it with Jacksonville last year. We saw it with Detroit last year too. Yeah. So maybe the Vikings are that team. I still like them, and their defense has played better than I thought it would.
Okay. Like it's not been very good.
Yeah. It as long as they're not giving up 35 like they were last year in like big games to big teams. You know, it's around like 20. It's a number where their offense, like 28 to the Chargers, that's a win in my opinion if you're the Vikings defense.
Yeah. And Kirk, I think, leads the league in passing yards.
Yeah, he looks great. He's having a great season.
No, I think I'll always be a truther on the Vikings.
Yeah.
But there's a stat about 0-4 teams that's like almost you can't come back.
Mm-hmm.
So who do they have this week?
Who do they get? Wow, I pride myself in knowing off the top of my head.
I think it's the Panthers in Carolina.
Yes, it is.
When are they playing a divisional game?
Yeah, that's true. They haven't done that yet, so they have time still.
They could go 8-0 in the division and lose to everyone else somehow.
They the Chargers, I'll throw similar to Notre Dame and Clemson. what were they doing? I support the call to go for fourth down. I know it was at their own 25, but I get it. Vikings have been moving the ball a day. They probably just get right back down to that spot. So try to win the game. But what are you doing? QB sneak the ball.
Yeah,
you're handing the ball to Josh Kelly, who hasn't gotten a yard all day.
Yeah, I don't know. That was terrible. Staley. I mean, what can you say? Like, I love that he goes for it.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of that as well. But yeah, I totally agree. He's dreadful. Josh Kelly is dreadful.
Well, you know what's crazy? He's never looked dreadful. Like, whenever he's behind Eckler, he always looks good.
Yeah.
It's almost the Alexander Madison effect.
Yes,
yeah, right.
That's exactly what I was going to say. All these backups coming in these star roles, it's not working out. Maybe pay your guys.
Well, but on the other side of that, there's already like a ton of running back injuries, so I get it.
That's true.
Yeah. Is Eckler injured though? Or is he
it sounds like he might be out until they had their bye week 5. It sounds like he might be out until then. Nothing official, but it didn't sound great. So I mean, they lose Mike Williams for the year, which is a big deal. Keenan obviously had 18 catches, which is insane.
He's so good. Maybe the most underrated player of.
You might be right about that. I think they've
he's
been calling
really
for his downfall for like 6 straight years, and he's just really good. But Eckler coming back will help them a ton. They need to do a little bit more for me to really get in my good graces. But they get the Raiders at home this week. They should win that game. Get themselves to 2-2. Give themselves a fighting shot. But yeah, they just both tried to lose the entire game. So, but that was the most fun game of the week.
Yeah.
But like I agree with you guys. I think the Vikings still have an okay shot to do something. Like nothing crazy, like win a Super Bowl or anything. But they should. If not, they should trade Kirk Cousins to the Jets. I'll keep saying it.
That's true.
I guess I will lump all of the big blowouts together. Bills, Dolphins, Chiefs all take care of business. Dolphins obviously put up 70. I've never seen that before in my life.
Yeah.
Yes.
I told you.
Did
Watch
you?
out for those fins.
You did. You had them winning the division. That is fair.
I've never seen that. 70?
Yeah, that's insane.
They kept scoring 75-yard touchdowns.
Yeah.
And it was Mike White and Chosen Anderson. I mean, I don't know what else you want them to do.
The Broncos are just...
The Broncos are 3 points favorites on the road this week, just saying.
Because the only team in the NFL that's had a worse storyline than them is who they're playing. You know?
You have to take +3.
Yeah.
Really?
No, I don't know.
I think I'm...
Oh, sorry. The Broncos are favorites.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Broncos, man.
We're thinking about taking the Broncos. Whatever.
I know.
I know it sounds crazy. They're not, I don't think the Broncos are going to the playoffs, but I do think they will.
Well, no.
I think they will play better. Like they're not going to go 2-14. They're not going to go. They're going to go like 6-11.
But their defense was supposed to be good.
I know. I don't know. I don't know what's happening there. I have no idea. It doesn't make any sense.
And there's this whole thing about, Sean Payton's back. He'll resurrect this team.
Yeah.
There's a chance he just will never be a good coach again. Doesn't want to coach. Doesn't like the situation he's in.
Maybe he wasn't that great of a coach.
Could have been.
Maybe Drew Brees was just awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe he just did one ballsy play and that was his. Everyone just thought he was.
Tried to do it again.
I mean, he started the season like that. You already did that, man.
Drew Brees, he was always. It seemed weird that Drew Brees was missing the playoffs every year.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, I mean, maybe he was never a good coach.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
6-11.
Marvin Mims is not even playing, and he has I think 6 of their top 7 yardage plays on the season. I know he's a kick returner, but it's still funny to look at. He's producing all of their explosive plays, and they're like, "Yeah, go sit behind some dudes we've never heard of."
I will say, Sutton looks good. Sutton's getting his.
Hey, try to tell you.
I thought he was done. I'll be honest. I thought he stinks.
Javante's starting to get his legs back too. Mm-hmm. He's starting to look good. But, 70 points is absurd.
Yeah, you can't. That's insane that they scored 70 points. I get the Dolphins are dynamic and stuff, but that's just crazy.
The Bills go to Washington 37-3. I think the final was. Washington kicks a sad field goal at the end to not get shut out, but
yes, they should.
I agree. I agree with you. Maybe the Bills just need to not play the Jets. I think they're going to just do this to, I guess, all the bad teams they play. But speaking of those two teams, Dolphins at Bills this week. So if you're the Dolphins, I'm pretty happy. I think, and you could look at it a different way as well, but I'm pretty happy you get to go to Buffalo in week 4 because the Dolphins' offense in December might look a lot different than it does right now, just based off of how they play and things. So going to Buffalo in the first week of October is a huge win for them in terms of instead of playing them like the first week of January. You could argue you'd rather get the Bills to have to go down and play in the heat, but I'd rather take my chances not playing in the snow.
No.
So I don't know what to expect there. I mean, the Dolphins have just been so good offensively.
It's hard to go against them right now.
Yeah.
And especially because the Bills haven't looked great. They look better, obviously, against the Commanders team. But the Commanders' defense, we don't know too much about. We know they have a great defensive line.
Yeah.
That should be great.
Yeah.
But 37 points.
I know.
Yeah.
It's quite I will say, and I'll talk about the Chiefs like this in the same way, and the Bengals as well, but there's a chance that those do those three teams have like top 5 defenses, because they're kind of playing like it right now. Chiefs, Bills, Bengals all of a sudden are playing defense, and that goes a long way in supporting their offense. I don't know how real it is 3 weeks into the season. I get that, but the Bills' defense has been pretty impressive so far. So maybe they can finally slow down some of the Dolphins. I assume Waddle's back this week, which they put up 70 without Waddle.
It's insane.
But it's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I would lean Bills here just because. I know. I mean, obviously it's hard to go against the Dolphins, but I just think the Bills are like a different level of what they've played against. And I mean, Tua's on fire, so you can beat anybody. And it was a close game last year when they played. It was a super close game. But I think I think, like you said, the Bills' defense is playing out of their minds. And the Bills have had a pretty consistently, they've had a good defense, like a top 10 unit, you know?
The Bills did almost lose to Skylar Thompson in the playoffs.
Yeah, that was crazy. Well, yeah, I mean, maybe, like McDaniel. I mean,
right.
His offensive scheme is great. Yeah. You know, he's got Raheem Mostert back there, and Devonta Cain looked great. Maybe he's the real deal, you know? I mean,
it's just I don't want to say he's just another track star, because Tyreek and Mostert and him are more than that, obviously.
Right.
They're very, very talented. But they just add more speed to that offense.
Right. Absolutely. And the scheme is insane. I mean, they're mowing teams down.
Well,
so.
Their defensive scheme's also really good.
Yeah.
Just know that. And so if the Bills can't get their run game going, Josh Allen's going to be under pressure very quickly. I can see him throwing like 3 picks in this game.
He could definitely turn the ball over quick.
3 picks. Josh Allen.
We love that.
Speaking of betting 3 of things, we're going to talk about the Chiefs here. Obviously, the Bears are horrible. I saw Taylor Swift. Obviously, everyone saw Taylor Swift was in the building. As soon as I saw the news, I bet Travis Kelce 3+ touchdowns.
I did take any time.
I probably any time was free money. Apparently, I should have just done that. But
Mike nailed any time. He did it on the perfect drive too. 3.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's Taylor Swift. You got to show out.
I know.
He tried. I mean, he did. He's Travis Kelce. He always shows out.
And they said they tried because she was there, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I sent in our Twitter group chat, but it shows that narratives are real.
They definitely are.
We support narratives.
They definitely are. She could be. I mean, I think she lives in New York now, and Kansas City goes to play New York on Sunday Night Football this week. She could be there again. Just saying.
He's like -2 score.
I know. Yeah. Well, in that case,
but 3 touchdowns.
3+. It's going to happen. I mean,
he does it like once a year. You know, so.
The odds weren't even that good on it, but it was like 5 minutes to kick, and the Schefter report came out that Taylor Swift was there. I was like,
Schefter reported it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, gosh.
I don't care what you say. That's a fun storyline.
Oh, I loved it.
Okay.
It's been all over my TikToks too.
I know some people are like, whatever, who cares? But like, no.
No.
It's fun.
No.
It's kind of fun to like just to watch, and like, I don't know. I describe it as it looked like. They look like a high school couple. Like he was like in his convertible post game. He's like, "Oh, check out my car." It's like you guys are the 2 biggest like stars in your respective areas. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
But
they call it the getaway car. I find it crazy that there's haters. Are you a hater?
No. I mean, I don't know.
You just don't buy into it.
I don't know. I don't know what to make of it.
Yeah.
Like, are they doing it for the money? Are they doing it for the show? Are they serious? You know,
that's a good point. There's theories,
right? Yeah, I mean,
that's what's crazy. Is all the conspiracy theories are like, wild to
The
me.
one I saw, so she's friends with Sophie Turner.
Victoria
and-
was just telling me about
And
this.
they were at dinner apparently together, and they were saying that Taylor did this just to get the storylines off of Sophie Turner and Joe Jonas breaking up. Yeah.
I don't
But-
think so.
Yeah, I don't. Well, here's the thing about paparazzi. Don't they just follow Sophie Turner anyway? Aren't they still gonna? that's
Yeah, but
still
they're
gonna
not
be
making
story?
headlines because guess who is?
Apparently-
Taylor Swift.
Apparently, the paparazzi were at Travis Kelce's house this morning.
He's the right
There was-
person for it
there
to
was-
happen to.
There was a headline
Yeah.
that was like Travis Kelce spotted in Kansas City. It's like, where'd you expect him to be?
That's so awesome, dude. Paparazzi are crazy. That's an insane job.
I wish I could be paparazzi.
I would like to do it for someone who's not like that. Like, it would stink to be like one of the paparazzi people, and there's like 20 other people with you. Like, it's not like groundbreaking. Like, you're just following this herd of people around all day. Like, I don't know.
Did you see the snack bin that got pushed out of the suite after the game? And everyone was like,
Yes.
"Oh, Taylor Swift's in there."
Well, because she's done that.
Oh, man.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
I buy that one.
She would do it in the like what was it, speakers? Like
Oh,
the
yeah.
speaker cases. Yeah, she'd roll into those for concerts.
It's crazy, and obviously her being just so like topical at the moment with her tour. I mean, it's just. I think it's very fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
Travis Kelce's, like you said, he's the right person for it to happen.
he's taking it all in stride. Last year, like I started to hate him. Not gonna lie, because he started to annoy me just with like being so out there, and then Super Bowl being like, yeah, no one believed in us. Like, chill
Yeah.
out. gang. But he's getting back on my good side because of how much fun he's having with the situation. So, I don't know. I don't know if they're serious or not, but she met his mom, so.
I will say, when he scored the touchdown, she was banging on the glass.
Oh, she was super into it.
But Travis' mom's just like,
Yeah.
So I'm like, was she just
Oh.
like?
I was kind of wondering that. It's
Yeah.
like, did she go a little too hard? I
Yeah.
don't know, but hey, she's ride or die. So.
No, and I heard good things.
Yeah.
I heard the box was reporting good things. So
Yeah.
the mom probably likes her.
Yeah.
How could you not?
It'd be tough not to,
Yeah.
I'd imagine.
Yeah.
But anywho, we'll get back on track here. So yeah, those teams take care of business. The other storylines for the week were the teams that didn't take care of business, and some upsets of more than a touchdown with the Colts over the Ravens,
Pain.
Cardinals over the Cowboys, and the Texans over the Jags. We'll start
all day.
I guess we'll start with the Ravens. They should have won. I don't know. Just like I don't want to overreact after week one, I'm not going to overreact to a game here. Just like I'm not going to do for Dallas. I'll do a little bit for Jacksonville just because they've shown this a little bit more. But for the Ravens, super injured, but not really an excuse because the game was handed to you on a silver platter.
Yeah.
So you got to close that game out. You don't. It happens. We talked about it last week being a tough spot. The run defense just let up some plays at times. I mean, they ran the ball 30 plus times. Not like Gardner was like lighting the world on fire. The catch that Pittman made was incredible.
Oh
Yeah.
But
that's wild.
the Ravens got to get healthy. Stanley and Linderbaum both practiced today, so hopefully they have an offensive line heading into next week against the Browns. But that's a tough loss. They could have really built some momentum. It's at 3-0, but
And it stinks because now it's they're going to back-to-back divisional games, and where you could have split them, now it's like if you lose both of them, you're 2-3. You're really behind in the division. You know, so,
3-2. If you split them, you're 3-2.
Yeah, if you split, I'm sorry. Yes, if you split them, you're 3-2. But winning this game and coming out of that split 4-1 is like way more.
I agree. It's a game you shouldn't have lost. But.
Yeah, the thing for me is it's like a coaching issue. Like that's what sort of makes it like worrisome for me because it could reoccur. It could happen again. And then you've got, I felt like Jackson was playing hero ball again, which that's what he does. You take the good with the bad. You try to, obviously you're not going to win every game, and you want to work out what's there. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those games. Like you look back, it's like, wow, that was killer.
Yeah, definitely should have won. I still think if Kenyon Drake doesn't fumble, they probably would have gone up 2 touchdowns.
That was
and
my
it's
I
probably
think so.
game
Well, that's
gone.
it just felt like
things happen, but hey, players on the field got to make plays.
Yeah.
But it goes back to the injury part. I mean, he just got signed again Wednesday.
Yeah.
The Ravens lose Gus in the game as well, so they were down their top 3 running backs during the game.
Justice out. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I just thought Melvin Gordon looked decent, which I was surprised about. But,
Yeah.
But yeah, they just need to get healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I more say it was the Colts. They had the good run game going on. The schemes were good for their running game.
Yeah.
The offense line, we've always said they're good.
Mhm.
Like they always end up being good. They're protecting well. They just played well.
Their coach Shane Steichen might be a good coach. We'll see, but
so
far they've kind of impressed me, which I wasn't expecting.
Yeah,
but.
absolutely.
And we do have the injury excuse. Like he's
Yeah. But for Dallas, a game they were never in, just kind of got beat by the Cardinals. The Cardinals might be frisky.
Am I liking Josh Dobbs? Or sorry,
Josh Dobbs?
Yeah,
Josh
Okay.
Dobbs.
Did you see he went into the team store and they have the customized jersey tablet and it has all the players listed and he wasn't even listed?
Yep. He's now my TikTok somehow.
Yeah,
And
me too.
He did that, but they got fixed.
They did.
So,
but yeah, the Cardinals, they're playing well-ish, better than we thought.
Yeah. Sure.
They better be careful if they do want to trade Kyler because they're not going to get the first pick if they keep playing like this.
Yeah.
I was going to come on here and say they better not be 14-point dogs to anybody the rest of the year, but they play the Niners this week and they're a 14-point dog, and that one I get.
Yeah.
After that, they've been okay. They're playing frisky. They took it to the Cowboys early and then they held on late. So
they're not that rollover team that we thought they were going to be.
And that happens, right? I mean, last year was the Jets. Going into last year, everyone's like, okay, the Jets are the worst team in the NFL, and turns out they are pretty good.
Lions too,
yeah.
right?
The Lions had a little bit of hype last year, but they fell off early and then they came back.
Yeah,
but it happens to Lions all the time when they come in with hype. They're not good, So
yeah, I mean, Dak didn't look very good in the game where he actually had to throw the ball. We kind of know that Dak's not very good. I don't know.
He's in that Kirk Cousins tier.
Sure.
Where he just has bad games and he just looks like crap sometimes. But I think the Cowboys are exactly what we thought they are. They have a good defense. They have an above-average offense. They're going to maybe get to the divisional round and lose to a better team like the Eagles or Niners.
Probably.
That's and I think this game was evidence of that. They tend to have like a head-scracking loss every year too. I think they lost to the Texans last year, and so I don't know. I mean, it was cool to see the Cardinals won a game, but I don't know. It doesn't really move the needle for me about Dallas too much.
I would agree. Like I said, not trying to overreact to 1 week where these outlier results happen. Like I said, I will start. I don't want to call it overreacting, but I'm going to start reacting to the way the Jags have played. I don't want to say they get lucky week 1 in Indy, but Anthony Richardson throws the bad pick in his first ever NFL game.
Yeah.
Colts could have gone down and won that game.
Yeah.
Last week, obviously, they scored 9 points on Kansas City. And then this week, they lay an egg. And the Texans were up big early. And again, this game kind of changed on one play where, they come out at halftime. The Jags get it to 17-7. They scored in 4 minutes. It was like, here we go. All right. And then they let a fullback return a kick on that.
Yeah, I don't. It just and even earlier too in the first quarter, so they let up a leadoff touchdown, a first drive touchdown, and then they respond, they come down to kick a field goal, it gets blocked to return, and then they end up scoring on that position. Now you're down two possessions. So I mean, they did everything they could to lose, literally everything they could do to lose that game. They played terribly.
Yeah, and it shows you it's all 3 phases. I mean, you gotta be buttoned up. And they clearly were not. I don't know. I'm not confident in them going forward at this point. They go to London and play the Falcons this week, which I like them in. But it seems like they might have gotten over their skis a little bit, and it might take a little bit more time to get them back on the right track. Calvin Ridley had the great week 1 and then not really much the last 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So they got to get him going.
He did get hurt. There is that at least.
He did leave the game.
Yeah.
But I thought he came back.
He did.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, if you leave a game at some point, it's not great.
Fair enough.
But still.
Just not been impressed by them whatsoever. Shout out to CJ Stroud. He's kind of balling.
Yes,
that's the other end of it. He looks good.
Very happy.
I was very critical of that pick. I did not like the pick of CJ Stroud. I thought it was a bad one. But he looks good. He looks really good.
Weapons are stepping up too.
Well, that's the
Tank
thing
Dell.
too.
Bob Woods.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Ouch. That hurt.
Bad toss. Not his fault.
Hey, the cards are there. That's all I'm saying.
6 targets.
Yeah.
Funny.
But and Nico Collins too, who I didn't really think was a thing. And here's the thing about them that's crazy is they don't run the ball well.
No,
they have
Damian
not
Pierce
run the
has not been
ball
good.
well, and their line, they're down 4 starters. How did they I don't know. If you're the Jags, I mean, it's not panic button time, but man, this was a division they were easily supposed to be able to win, and now all of not the Titans, really not so much, But the upstart teams who weren't supposed to be here yet, now all of a sudden are playing pretty good football.
And now they got to go to London. They stay in London for 2 straight weeks, which is unprecedented. I guess it'll help them.
Maybe, yeah.
In the second week where the Bills will have to travel to them, but they got to play the Bills. Like that's
Yeah.
not easy. It's weird that game's in London. They shouldn't have added that element to that game, but whatever. Falcons Jags this week I get, but Bills Jags, no thank you. Play that on either team's home field, whatever. Yeah, they're like only a 3-point favorite. I know it's neutral, but the Jags are much more comfortable going to London. And as we just talked about with Atlanta, if they can't do what they want against you, like and just run the ball, Ritter can't make the throws that you need. So they should. The Falcons should go to Heineke.
What a sad game to wake up to.
Yeah, that's why you watch the Ryder Cup.
Oh, maybe.
Oh man.
Sorry, I know we're way past the Ryder Cup now. What time does that end usually?
Well,
on Sunday.
Let's see. It'll probably lead right up to football.
Okay, that's good.
Roughly.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could definitely be a flip situation.
Other notes from around the league: the Browns' defense looks like it might be the best in the league. Deshaun played better. He still obviously had the one play where he threw the ball backwards, which was bad. I will say the Titans are a true pass funnel where they only really stop the run. They have nobody on the back end to cover. So I'm taking him throwing for 280 with like a grain of salt because I think a lot of quarterbacks are going to do that to Tennessee.
Yeah.
And that's just the way they play defense. I think in years past they've had the guys on the back end to make it work. Yeah. And right now they just don't.
No.
So
they've always had good safeties.
Yeah. And obviously Tannehill looks horrible. So I don't know. Derrick Henry might be done as well.
Dude, he had negative yards first half, I think.
So I don't know. I mean, Tajay Spears is playing more than him, and I get it's a game flow type of thing, but
yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that plays.
I know it takes a little while for him to get going, but he looks like he's 30, and I think he turns 30 in a few months. So it looks like it might be the end of the road for him, which kind of sucks. But
one more year, Derek. One more. We need you.
Should they look to trade Tannehill to the Jets?
I don't think they would.
I don't think they're going to.
Why?
Well, because they're already like. Here's the thing about the Titans: they're already like so bad. Like,
Right.
I don't think they need.
But they don't think they're bad.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. I think they're playing the card of our roster is bad, but we're going to go out there and we're going to try to win 7-8 games, sneak into the playoffs, and steal some games to like they don't look at it as like we're devoid of talent. Like it's so weird with Tennessee because I do like Vrabel. I think he's a good head coach, but their front office doesn't know what they're doing. They traded A.J. Brown and then they drafted Traylon Burks.
But then they make plays for like Hopkins.
It's just like bad teams do that. Bad teams trade away a really good player and then draft a player at that same position. That's what a bad team does.
I get that. Yeah. I support that to an extent. Again, I'm all for player empowerment, but if you're not going to pay A.J. Brown, the best thing you can do is almost be like a college system. So, hey, your 4-year or if your first round or 5-year deal is up, I'm going to trade you for a first round pick. And guess what? I'm going to draft a replacement and I'm going to get him at his rookie cost for 5 years.
I get that, but that model only works if you're assuming the rookie is going to be as effective as A.J. Brown.
Yeah,
which is super unlikely. No matter who you are, you're not. No matter what your scout team is, you're capable of drafting busts.
You're right.
Every NFL team does it.
And I sort of looked at it as like when the Ravens traded Hollywood, I was like, yeah, do that. Because,
right.
But Hollywood's not A.J. Brown. To your point,
exactly. So
fair enough.
I don't know. I just thought I just don't think the front office is making the correct moves.
Yeah.
And they should have they've tried to get it back up to Tannehill. They've tried to deal with Malik Willis and I'm blanking on him.
Will Levis.
Thank you.
So they drafted
Will Levis. Yeah.
I guess that's my point. And I know what you're saying. The front office just sees them. Let's sneak in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I guess that's better for attendance and playoff.
Right.
But what in the world is the point of that? Just to draft 18th next year, get no one effective. I think you can get out of Tannehill's contract this year. If you play him for the whole year, you have no idea what you have with Malik or Will. So next year, it's just going to be worse. Why not trade him to New York? You're going to get out of his deal anyway. Get back a 3rd or a 4th round pick.
Yeah.
Be bad. See if you have a quarterback for this year, or be bad enough to where you can go draft one.
I think they're just grasping at the 2019, 2020, 2021 straws. And to them last year, they were in the division. Yeah. If Tannehill didn't go down, maybe they win the division.
I understand. It's
but I hear you. I think
that's what 2 30-point losses on their resume or something like that. Yeah. So
to good teams too. I don't know. Like I thought they would win that game against Cleveland.
I took them plus 3.5.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yep.
Killer.
It was they're not good.
Are we gonna talk about the Jets?
Sure. You want to talk about the Jets?
Well, just you talk about them bringing a quarterback. They brought in Trevor Siemian.
Great.
Aren't you excited about that?
No.
Did you see the interview with Sauce?
Which
Like they were talking about how they signed Trevor Siemian.
Oh no, I saw him get the Akiway sandwich.
That looked disgusting. Why did they do that? Do you know what he's talking
No,
about?
I don't. I do not.
There's this guy that owns a convenience store in New York.
What are they called? A bodega.
A what?
A bodega.
Is that what the store's called?
No, that's what they call them in New York.
Oh,
Like corner convenience stores.
oh, okay. But like they'll come in and say, "Give me a breakfast sandwich, the Akiway or whatever," and it'll be like inside like a honey bun.
And
It's
it'll be like
Little Debbie's.
mozzarella sticks and like
Bro,
sausage and like.
We're gonna have to pull it up.
Yeah, well,
we're gonna show you.
That's absurd.
But no, I did not see him talk about Trevor Siemian.
Yeah, and like he was excited about Trevor Siemian
Well, I
joining
get
the team.
that because anyone's
But
better.
how sad is that?
Very. That's
Dude,
my point.
I mean, honestly, I think Saleh. I think they should get on him this year. Like
They did last year.
The front office, like he's got to answer for the Zach.
It's
Wilson.
causing divide.
Yeah, well, because
in locker
he's
room.
stubborn. He's not like you need to evaluate that Zach Wilson's the worst quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
You know, it's not close. He's bad. He's been terrible for a long time. And them not even I don't know why Joe Flacco wasn't on their roster to start the year.
Yep. I still don't know why he's not.
The minute that Aaron Rodgers goes down, you need to go get a guy who's like good. This is your chance, and he's just like, oh well.
Kaepernick wants to play for their backup
That was-
squad.
That's right. He does. Yeah, that was insane.
It's been 7 years, my guy.
That was like
I'd like to see it.
I would
want to see it.
honestly. I saw something that said they might as well do it
I mean,
because
Exactly.
they're already killing their team. They're
Yeah.
already killing the year, so you might as well just make a spectacle of it.
That'd be so much fun, in my
That'd
opinion.
be wild. That gave me Jamarcus Russell vibes, where Jamarcus Russell was like writing teams to like
Okay.
Bring Johnny Manziel in. I don't know.
yeah, like I don't know.
Make it an open tryout. I think someone said it, but you're a better quarterback than Zach Wilson at this point.
Yeah, hey man, I'll suit up.
Invincible.
If they call me, dude,
I'll make you a highlight tape.
I will drop out right now and go play for the Jays.
The opposite of what the Clemson kicker did.
That's
Could you imagine Aaron Donald coming at you?
how much money to get Aaron Donald to sack you? I think not like just tackle you, like wreck you.
Human body craves contact.
I'd pay.
You'd pay for it.
I'd pay.
Oh, no. I don't think I'd pay for it.
No. I'd be in the hospital probably.
Yeah.
I'd be in bed for
I'd probably do it for 10K.
10K.
For him to tackle you
Yeah.
one time.
Well, you get to meet him too. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Get to say you got landed on by Aaron Donald.
No way, dude. Dude, Kevin Hart raced Stephen Ridley and like tore his knee. No, he literally
he did.
tore the ligament off the bone.
Yeah,
you
he
know?
did.
That's Stephen Ridley. Stephen Ridley was like 43 or
And
something.
wait, you said just raced?
They raced.
So
That's
just
different.
by running, Kevin
By
Hart.
running next to Stephen Ridley as hard as he could. Could you imagine getting tackled by maybe the best defensive player of all time?
Does it get to be on tape or no?
Yeah, well, yeah. Right.
Oh, okay.
I'd be nice about it.
Because like if you said it couldn't be recorded, you're just locked in a room. Aaron Donald gets to
Oh,
bulldoze you.
man.
No, I'm out.
I'd be dead. Like,
Yeah.
no, I mean, he could probably kill me. No, like,
Yeah.
seriously kill me.
Yeah.
You know?
Um,
10K. 10K
and
for my
hospital bills
life.
covered.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yes.
But back to the Trevor Siemian thing.
Oh, God.
It seems like they're bringing in quarterbacks that don't move the needle so that Zach Wilson feels comfortable, which is so weird.
That's interesting.
Like, that's what I don't understand.
Was Simeon in the league last year? Was he with the Vikings?
I was going to guess the Broncos, but I don't know.
Someone like that.
I think it was the Vikings.
He played a few games. Like he started a few games.
He's fine. He's probably better, but
Oh, yeah. But they're not going to play him.
probably not.
Not until week 7.
I mean, they're not going to beat the Chiefs this week anyway, so who cares?
He's on the Bengals.
Oh,
Sure.
interesting.
Wow.
I don't know. They need. Their defense is so good and their
Like,
offense is so bad.
I'm really mad at Robert Saleh. Like, I really thought, I still do think he's a decent head coach, but
Yeah.
he's killing
He's
that
putting his
team.
chips on the wrong guy.
Yeah, man.
It's very weird.
It's-
It's almost like it's like the front office doesn't want to admit that they made a bad draft pick.
I mean,
But guess what? You did.
Yep.
And move on from it.
right, exactly.
Whatever.
As we should.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I think I know I didn't touch every team, but I think that was the bulk of what happened last week. Some of the games weren't great as it was, so they need to stop putting just 3 games on in the afternoon, especially when they all suck, because that sucks.
Yeah. Why not divide them?
I guess I didn't talk to y'all at all about Monday night, but Steelers kind of predictably, in my opinion, go beat the Raiders. Almost blew it. The Raiders, Jimmy G gets hurt. Brian Hoyer might be starting. And for the Saints, by the way, James might be starting this week. So
fine.
Just saying. But the Steelers are who they are, in my opinion. They're going to beat some bad teams, and their defense will win some games, but their offense just doesn't look very good at all. Yep. They had a couple of nice drives in the middle of the game there, but
they can get good, which is scary to me.
Yeah. They're not very good.
I don't like Pickett. I know everyone's blaming Canada, but I just don't think Pickett's very good.
I don't think so either.
He looks bad.
And Eagles-Bucks was just... Eagles still don't look like the team that we think they are, but they're still winning pretty convincingly, so that's pretty scary.
Mike Evans made a cool catch. That was fun.
Yeah. He did. Devonta Smith did not get 30 yards. That wasn't fun.
That was not fun. Nope. He got 28. Boo.
Yeah. But other than that, looking ahead to this week, let's talk Survivor again. Our group one is still in it. We avoided the landmines. We went with the Chiefs, thankfully. All my personal ones were the Jags.
Yeah.
Who do you want this week, Ben?
I don't know.
Probably the wrong team.
I feel like whatever I'm going to say is going to be wrong. I was on the Jags, but I still have 2 personal ones, thank goodness. But
are you in season still?
No. But I'm in Loser Survivor. Yeah, I picked. I think I picked the Bucks in Loser Survivor.
I did that week 1 and lost week 1 because they beat the
So yeah, I'm actually excited about that. I feel really good about Loser Survivor. But yeah, this week I don't know. It's hard to go against the Niners. I know that we talked about the Cardinals being an upstart team, but yeah, the Niners are always a good one. It's really going to be between them and a team that I'm blanking on, actually.
Who are the Raiders are playing? The Chargers,
yes, the Chargers.
Or the Eagles.
Yes,
the Commanders.
That's right. The Eagles have the Commanders.
The Chiefs have the Jets.
I can't remember. Did I send it to the group chat? I don't think I did. When are we going to pick the Eagles?
You did mention, I think.
I think I said that for a different team.
Oh.
No, it was the Eagles.
The Eagles?
You said yes. It was the Eagles because the Eagles get they have a whole bunch of they start playing their first place teams coming up in their schedule. You said we wouldn't be able to use them till week 13. I'll check their schedule.
Maybe I get it. I'm fine with using them just to survive another week.
But I also don't like them this week. It's the divisional game. The Commanders could definitely beat them.
I don't know.
Yeah, next week they're at Rams, at Jets, and then they get the Dolphins at home, at the Commanders, Cowboys at home, 49ers at home.
I say let's use them against the Jets, probably.
Cowboys, Seahawks, Giants at home, December 25th. So that's week 14? I think that's what you're targeting.
Yeah. So either you use
It'd be nice to have them.
It would.
Yeah.
It would.
But I understand you got to survive.
Yep.
Especially in this one.
Yeah.
This isn't a payout.
Mm-hmm.
It's just Eagles-Niners to me, you can pick any week because... if you got to week 17 and you had them, if you had them, you're like, sweet.
Mm-hmm.
But
there will be games where you have to pick 3-point spread. And obviously, where I trust them, then Steelers.
Then the Jags this week against them, which I'm not opposed to doing the Jags. I know we talked about the Broncos. Producer Alex over there really wants us to do the Broncos.
I'm possibly in on the Broncos.
I don't think I can do it.
I don't hate the Broncos. The Bears are the worst team in the league. By far, they're horrible.
If there's ever a time, the Broncos lost by 50,
dude.
And they're favorites,
but they scored 20 points.
Yeah, they scored 20, which I think the Bears have done once all season.
If there's ever a time for the Bears,
and the thing about the Broncos is they had I don't know how they lost the Commanders, but they did, and that was a close game. Sure. And then they lost by 1 to the Raiders.
You know what I'm hearing a lot in there? Lost.
Yeah, I know, but some losses are not as identical as others.
I understand. But you
the
could say about the Bears. The Bears could have beat the Bucks.
No way.
They had the ball down 3. They threw a pick 6, but they had the ball down 3.
Yeah. I don't know.
Why they should? All right. In real talk, why is that game not prime time? Flex Chiefs Jets out because no one cares about that. Put Broncos Bears on Sunday Night Football. Let us watch.
That would be amazing. I'm not opposed to them flexing early games, by the way.
I think it does start next week.
Okay.
You can start.
I didn't know they did it that early. I thought they wait till playoff time.
They used to. This is the first year you can do some
good.
early weeks.
Honestly, I'm not opposed to them doing that.
Yeah, because all of a sudden Chiefs Jets sucks. Like I really don't want
nobody
to watch
wants
that.
to see you. Yeah, like get off my TV screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this week is rough. Like I know a lot of people are going to try to rebound the Cowboys, but I don't like that. The Vikings at the Panthers. That's a game I don't like.
Not a road game.
Yeah, especially if Dalton plays.
Dalton looked decent.
He looked pretty good. And I know that I'm not buying the Seahawks defense, but he looked fair. You could use the Bengals, but there are better times to use them. Yeah.
I didn't really touch on them. I should have. Holy crap. I get they won the game, but Burrow does not look healthy.
Nope. No, he doesn't. I also think the Rams are a little more upstart than we give them credit for. I don't think their defense is amazing or anything.
I mean, I agree, but to me, what were like? I sent this in our chat, but at one point in the first half, the Bengals' pass to run ratio was 24-7, and you know that Burrow's not 100% healthy. Like, why are you not leaning on the run game a little bit more?
Yeah.
And they should the Rams obviously had a touchdown called back when Tutu stepped out. I don't know that he actually stepped out, but they did overturn it, whatever. So, the Rams could have put up a lot more points, and they had every opportunity to, go up big to where the Bengals would have never been able to come back. So they got kind of lucky to stay in that game as long as they did to finally break through. They do. They did it. Good for them. They got off the schneid, and Jamar looked awesome. T did not.
No.
But
that was weird.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about the drop in the middle of the field.
There was a couple, but yeah, that's the one I think.
He was hurt. Weirdly enough, he had a hand injury, and then he left and he came back.
He went to the locker room and came back.
Was that an excuse?
I think so.
Because
I think he just went to go get some new gloves or something. But their defense looked really good. The Rams never adjusted to having a backup left tackle in, which was weird.
Oh yeah, at the end of that game, Stafford was getting killed.
So that kind of sucked. But Burrow doesn't look right, and they might have killed their whole season by playing him week 1. So
yeah, I mean we'll see. They're still within pretty. I don't know. I still like the Bengals. They got Chase more involved this week, which was good to see. But I just think long term, as long as Joe Burrow is, it's like Lamar. Like as long as they have Joe Burrow, they'll always be in the conversation.
I agree.
I don't see them going 8 and 9.
No, I don't either. I think that there's a chance that he never gets healthy, fully healthy. So they can't really go and beat the big teams.
Yeah,
but I guess we'll see. But yeah, so I don't know. Survivor for me, it's Eagles or Niners, really.
Yeah.
Because we did use the Chiefs last week. I like the Jags, and everyone just got burned by them. So it'd be I think it would be a very low owned one.
I think so too.
Just
the sneaky plays, the Jags and the Chargers. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Those are 2 sneaky plays we'll consider.
See, I think the Chargers are going to be that one that's really popular.
I kind of think so.
But they might.
Sorry, I mean close. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
There are a ton of decent sneaky plays.
But there's no reason to get sneaky right now either.
Well, my thing
now.
about the Jags is I don't think they're that good. I don't think they're a top 17 in the AFC. So I'm not really going to trust them. I don't love them having to be trusted in week 12 necessarily because it might be against a team that's much better than the Falcons.
Yeah.
So that's my rationale, and I know they'll play Houston again, but Houston has beaten them 4 of the last 5 times. I know they'll get Tennessee, which they should be better than Tennessee, but
so in Survivor, most of the people who are alive right now probably use the Commanders week 1, and they probably a good portion at least use the Commanders week 1 or they use the Giants week 2.
Yeah.
So either one of those, and some people use both.
Yeah.
Right. I doubt that many people didn't use either of those teams, or at least a low percentage of them did.
Yeah.
So using a really good team here isn't a killer.
It's not.
And like I was trying to say, a decent portion of people used the Niners last week.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're gonna have that.
The Niners for me,
on them.
It's so hard to use them because they're the best team in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So I don't just not using last year. A lot of people had the Eagles down the stretch because no one was expecting them to be as really good as they are, and I think Miami's kind of that team maybe this year. But it's just so nice to have had the Eagles as long as we did last year.
Yeah.
When you're whipping out the Eagles week 11, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got to do what you got to do. It's not a bad spot for the Niners. And the thing about the Niners too is,
it's the best spot for the Niners.
Yeah, I mean, it might be the best
It is.
spot.
Long
yeah,
week,
well,
too.
Yeah. And you're not going to be able to use them for like 5 straight weeks.
Yeah.
6 straight weeks. So I don't hate it. I probably will go the Niners and be upset about it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're never gonna be happy.
But we're
about it.
probably going to survive another week if you do.
That's
So,
right. That is right.
That's the name of the game.
Unless the Cardinals just win, which
Yeah,
would
that's
destroy
crazy.
my soul. If the Cardinals tank my Survivor season, I'll cry.
Fair enough.
I could be sold on the Chargers. Give me some time. I could be sold on the Chargers.
I think
If Hoyer starts, I could be sold.
yeah, only
Yeah.
that's yes.
I think I'd rather save them.
What?
The Bears. They play the Bears at home.
Fair.
The Bears stink,
I
bro.
can see the Bears getting better than they are right
The
now.
Bears are going to get one.
Yes.
I don't know
they're
who
gonna
it's
get
gonna
one.
be.
You know who they're going to get one against? The Detroit
The
Lions.
Lions. Yeah,
They're
you're
going to
probably
beat the
right.
Lions.
Or the Packers.
Probably the Vikings, if we're being honest.
The Vikings. No, I mean they'll probably beat one of the division teams.
Yes.
You know, they look terrible. They don't look like they belong on a football field right now. And I'm being totally honest.
Money line. Let's ride.
Oh god.
Go Bears. Yeah, Bears.
But like, let's say Eckler's in.
Justin Fields overs.
God. Like if Eckler's in and Hoyer's playing,
Yeah.
the Chargers seem like we kind of have
But it's
to. at
divisional
that
game.
point.
You hate divisional.
Yes, I
That's
know. I know.
Not gonna lie. So I looked into that. I looked into the divisional thing. Total myth. But what isn't a thing? What isn't a myth is road
Yeah.
divisional games.
Yeah.
Road divisional games are not a myth.
That makes sense.
If you're a home divisional opponent, you usually are more than not going to win. Unless you're the Jaguars last week.
Yep.
Yeah. That's dreadful.
Dreadful.
You just talked yourself out. You know, it's fine.
I'm saying nothing's 100%.
Yeah.
In
No.
statistics.
The Chiefs were 100% last week. They were.
The Chiefs were 100%.
And the Niners are this week.
Hey, everyone thought the Cowboys were 100%.
Nope, not everyone.
That is not true.
What?
You said we weren't going to take them because we liked them in the future, but we thought they'd win that game.
Sure, we thought they'd win. There's a reason to take them.
Reason we
On
didn't
the
take the
road.
Jags too.
Well, some of us took the Giants.
Okay.
Some of us said the Texans could win. I think we're done.
Yeah, we're done. Enjoy the football this week. Enjoy the baseball. Enjoy the Ryder Cup. I want to hear from you if you watch it. It's a lot of fun. I'll be watching. Check us out next week on Hook and Batter.